Welcome in to Knicks Mail.bag, presented by the Strickland and by all of you on Patreon and by Bet Online, which I'll get to in just a moment. I am Alex Wolf. I'm editor-in-chief of this little website, the Strickland, and making our valiant return here to the Mail.bag. Unfortunately, could not nail down my two extremely busy and social butterfly co-hosts on one single freaking Zoom call. So I'm starting this episode off by talking with my good buddy Wackery Zachary Delizio. Zach, how are you, bud?
Let's go. I'm great, man. I'm great. It's a great summer.
Yeah,
Things are going great. How are you?
I'm good. I'm in air conditioning, which I guess is more than I could say for you because you showed up to this podcast not wearing a shirt at first and then remembered that you had to put a shirt on.
There's an air conditioner right here. I can't
Yeah.
turn it on or it will take over my mic. So
Yeah.
I'm doing this for you and the people at home.
That's good. I'm glad you spared all of our ears and spared me having to try to figure out how to use like Adobe Audition that well or whatever to figure out how
to the white noise.
Yeah, how to get away, get rid of an air conditioner. But also it wasn't even that hot out today, so like it's fine. You're fine. You're good.
I'm fine.
Yeah. By comparison, it was like basically like winter out today compared to
Honestly,
the rest.
dude, it's funny you say that because there was a point where I walked outside. I was like, "Do I need a sweatshirt?"
Yeah.
It's like, wow, this is normal hot.
Yeah, just normal hot. Normal hot.
Yeah.
We're good. So all right, today's show is before we get into all the questions from all you guys from our lovely Discord server, we have to remind you all that today's show is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. So head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use code BLEAV, BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit with BetOnline. BetOnline, it's where the game starts. And I wanted to remind you all, those of you that are Patreon subscribers, thank you so much for being so. If you want to ask questions on future Knicks Mail.bags, that's where you got to be because we just take the questions from Discord now. We get so many Discord questions that we kind of just stopped going to the Twitter well or the X well or whatever the hell we're calling it these days.
Oh my God.
We stopped Xing. Asking for questions. Maybe we'll start threading them. No, I'm just kidding. We're not going to do that either because we're just going to Discord because that's, the people that are there are our biggest fans. And if you want to be one of our biggest fans too, you could check us out at patreon.com/thestrickland or just go to our website, thestrick.land, and look for the Patreon tab. And from there, you can find all kinds of different tiers. The first tier for $6 a month, you can get the Friday edition of Pod Strickland in full instead of just the 30-minute preview. You can get the other edition, Knicks Mail.bag in full, which typically we run these like every other week. So, it's usually a little more often than it is during the off season, but the other edition of Knicks Mail.bag, usually with Drew Steele and Dallas Amico, also only airs a 30-minute preview, so you can see those whole episodes. You also get into the Discord server, so you can ask us questions for these episodes and also just talk hoops somewhere that's not Stupid X, which is the worst stupid website out there right now. There are no OnlyFans bots in our Discord. I can confirm as of right now, at least. We're working on adding some so we can be as good as X someday, but not there just yet. But then if you want to get even more stuff, you can check out the $9 tier on Patreon. And there you get Stricken Roll, Schwinn's solo podcast. In case you can't have enough Schwinn in your life, you can get more. Plus exclusive written pieces that get posted to Patreon, typically from Matthew Miranda or Jeff Rasmussen, but sometimes from other writers as well. And I think that one also gives you a merch discount. I think you get 5% off merch with the $9 tier. I'd have to double check that. But then we have other tiers ranging anywhere from $15 to $100 a month if you really love us, all on patreon.com/Strickland. So definitely check that out. All right, Zach, it's time to get into these questions. So first off, this comes from one of our own, Stacy Patton, via the Discord. How concerned are you about the Knicks not having a quote true backup four? Do you think it will be Hart? Do you think they pick someone up, or do you think a guy like Roby or Windler could step in? Apologies if this has already been covered. It is not, because we haven't done a mailbag in like A month or more.
Because we don't do work around
This particular crew has not done a mailbag in a minute, so I don't know if they talked about it on Pod Strickland, but we haven't talked about it here. Zach, how do you feel about the backup 4 spot now that Obi Toppin's out of town?
I don't care. I think, so I've been like disconnected from the Knicks information space in general, pretty much since the season ended. That's what I always do. A little detox, just take a little break. I'm guessing this is the obvious conclusion. So I'm guessing a lot of people are saying the same thing. Why? Number one, why do we need a dedicated backup 4 in general? On like who? It's not a necessary part of building a roster in 2023. Number one. Number two, they used Obi Toppin like a wing anyway. He was just standing in the corner shooting threes like 100% of the time. So, okay, he's a 4, but like pick any of the wings or even kind of guards in a sense, and they can do the same thing. So, no, I'm not really worried. I do think it'll be Josh Hart. I think that's great. I think the front office is almost like protecting Tibbs from himself. Like, no, you cannot play Obi Toppin at the 4 and have him stand in the corner. You're going to have to use someone else who is a better shooter, more dynamic, kind of off the dribble or whatever you want to call it, a wing instead of kind of a weird middling wing, which Obi kind of was. So I don't care. That's where I'm at. What about you?
I'm actually completely on the opposite end of the spectrum on this. I think they do need a actual backup 4. And I don't think that they should commit to playing that guy all the time. I think that they should experiment with like RJ and Hart at the 4, but I think that they need someone else on the roster because you talk about saving Tibbs from himself. I think that saves Tibbs from himself to get a true backup 4 that can soak up like 5-10 minutes a game, because otherwise he's going to put Jericho Sims in that spot. He loved that look last year.
No, I don't think he did. I don't really remember, but I felt like it was out of necessity at the time.
It was because Obi was hurt, and he loved it. Like
wasn't that before they had Hart though? I don't remember. I don't recall them having better options than that.
It was before they had Hart. It was before they had Hart, and he did make a point to say like, I could see Josh Hart playing the 4 a little bit, but I don't buy that. I just don't buy it. He like does not put his money where his mouth is with stuff like that.
Dude, no fucking way he plays Hartenstein and Sims together. Not without being forced. There's just it didn't work, bro. It didn't work. Like it played okay defense. I mean, Sims isn't even fucking good. Like let's be honest with ourselves. Like maybe he'll be better. I don't know, but
the defense,
I would lose my mind.
The defense was intriguing. The defense was intriguing, and it clearly intrigued Tibbs. And
I mean, the entire game stopped functioning.
Yeah. on the offensive end, yes. On the defensive end, it was fun for a couple minutes.
Not basketball anymore.
Defense ball. But no, I guess my argument is like, what's the downside? I guess like if you just like the guy that I keep going to that keeps like he's like a song stuck in my head that I just keep going back to as far as like the target that I would go after. Who is it?
Taj Gibson.
Taj Gibson, yes. No. Jermichael Green. I'm like, he could basically do what they wanted Obi to do.
Is he a free agent?
Yes, he's a free agent, and he'll probably come for the veterans minimum because that's like he's still in the market. That's all he got paid. I think last year was the veterans minimum.
I mean, maybe he's just waiting in a situation like that where it's hard to imagine that a guy like that who has so much experience at such a high level and is a solid role player, that he doesn't have at least a couple of offers at the minimum. You know what I mean?
I think he was just like kind of like he played with Golden State last year.
He was with Golden State, right?
Yeah.
He was okay.
He was all right. He wasn't like great. Like I think he's definitely on the downturn of his career. But if all you want him to do is what you used to ask Obi to do, which is just like stand in the corner and shoot spot up threes and like rebound the ball a little bit and like not be complete garbage on defense, like I think he could do that.
Yeah, so I agree with that. I suspect that he's just going to sign with a contender, and he's deciding which contender it is.
Maybe the Knicks are that though. They're good. They were a second round team.
I mean,
You know?
well, contender is probably strong, but they're a
Yeah.
good team and they could use
Yeah.
him. And if he still wants to play, he could probably play. So that's something that other teams don't necessarily have.
Yeah. So I mean, I guess to address what the overall question is, like my concern level is not super high. However, my like I don't understand why you would just actively not do it. Like I'm just like just sign a guy. Like it's good to have that sort of insurance anyway. Like get if you get like a Jermichael Green, you also know that like if Randall gets hurt for like a couple games, so you're not like totally fucked and like
Well, so
having
that was where my mind went too. But then I
yeah.
realized if you're starting Jermichael Green for 30 games, you're still fucked. So
Well,
like,
not for 30 games, but I mean, would you but like certain teams, I can understand going small, and I've been trying to, you and I and everybody else have been screaming from the fucking mountaintops like the Knicks need to go small for like years now. And they, this is like kind of an
it's
opportunity,
gonna happen, bro. It's
but
gonna happen. Get ready. Get
right.
excited. It's gonna
But
happen.
but you also don't you can't go small all the time. Like it is good to have at least
No, but
options
that's why
of
it's just
rotation.
another look. But the thing is, they're so stacked. I mean, they actually are pretty stacked, kind of at guard and wing. They're pretty
Oh
stacked.
yeah. Yeah, they are.
They could go deep. So
They
there's really
can.
no alternative. Like how many playable bigs do they even have right now? Like three?
3. Yeah, they
Yeah.
have Randall, Mitch, and Ihart. That's what I'm saying. I think
Yeah.
another big would be useful.
I
I think
mean, probably, but I just feel like the four in general is such a like just have them shoot. Just stretch the floor. It's cool. Like with Miami, that's what they did with Love, who got played off the floor. But like, you know what I mean? Like, I just feel like it's such a position where, with the way the league is going, just plant the guy in a corner. It's fine, and that can be anyone, especially
yeah.
because Harden and RJ play so big. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
I don't even think they're like. I mean, they're obviously undersized, but really compared to basically everyone else their size, they're really not that undersized. And who are they going to be playing against? You know what I mean? Like, what fours do you have to worry about on a night-to-night basis in the NBA?
Yeah, I guess it's just for me, like, it mostly comes down to the rebounding. Like, there are just certain matchups that you're not going to be able
Well, but
to.
Hart, I mean, look, those are the two best guys to do it with, right?
Yes and no, because I think that it takes away part of what gives Hart an advantage is the fact that he's such a great
Hmm.
rebounder out of like the 3 spot.
I guess, but that
You
also
know?
means that you're making a four guard hit. That's really the critical thing, and more
Yeah.
important, and like switching it on defense. That's
Mhm.
also the critical, because like if you have like a bench lineup of like, I don't know, like Deuce, RJ,
The be
IQ,
the bench lineup would probably be
Hart.
because he'll probably go 9-man again, so it'll probably end up being like IQ, RJ, Hart, RJ, DiVincenzo, Hart, and Hartenstein.
That's a switchy lineup with a lot
Yeah,
of shooting
yeah,
and a lot of off the dribble stuff. Even though the thing is that's what kind of what you're saying, right? Is like on the one side, Hart's rebounding isn't as much of an advantage relative to his peers at the four, yes, but it means he can play the four where his other skills are a huge advantage relative to his peers at that position. And I
yeah.
think that kind of gives these lineups such a great dynamic. I mean, I didn't even think about Sims and Hartenstein, bro. Now
It,
you got me. Now you got me like, oh, nah. There's just no way. There's no way. No,
just
no, no.
wait till
Listen,
preseason.
no, no, no. The Tibbs shit gets hyperbolic sometimes, bro. I'm not even saying you specifically. Some of the shit people will be saying about Tibbs is like, does this man even watch basketball? Like, come on, give me a fucking break. There's no way that lineup is playing. I'm telling you right now. Unless it's an emergency, I'm calling it right now. There's zero chance that shit is playing. No
The
one with any fucking brain. If he plays this in the first 20 games, I will lose my mind.
You know what the emergency is? The emergency is that Leon didn't give him a backup 4. That's what he's gonna say. He's gonna be like, "Oh, you didn't give me one, so I gotta play this guy." I'm
Outside
Thibodeau and I talk
will
like this.
die.
All right, let's move to our next question, and let's put on our hater hats, Zach. Franklin Chubb wants to know out of the Discord, which teams do you think you'll despise the most this season?
This is easy, isn't it?
The Heat?
Of course. Oh, of course. That was the
Fuck
first one
them.
that popped into my head. But I think I had one that was better. Where's your head at?
Is this like same conference, different conference?
Same conference.
Is
Of
it
course.
Indy?
What?
Is it Indy?
No. Man, fuck, I don't
They're like kind of insignificant. I'm not gonna lie.
it's like that the Madman quote, like I don't even think about you.
Yeah, they're the only thing with them is like the Halliburton hype annoys me compared to Brunson, who's obviously better.
Whatever, bro. Everyone knows Brunson is better than Halliburton.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear it. Anyone who's
Okay.
talking that shit is a fucking nerd. I don't care.
So other than the Heat, Celtics? That's
yes,
evergreen.
but no. Come on, baby. It's right there.
Cavs?
No, I thought about that. No, Brooklyn, dude. Oh, this is the season for Brooklyn to be annoying as shit, dude.
Dude, Brooklyn is the team that I'm like, I don't give a fuck about.
No, but think about the way the narrative is going to play out. Everyone's going to be like, oh, Mikal Bridges. Oh, my God, look at the steal. Look at the steal they got for Bridges. Wow, they managed to salvage everything. Sorry, Discord's going crazy.
Do you have your Discord?
I don't know what, dude. My computer loves to just send all the Discord notifications at the same time. And like a reminder, this happens during work meetings.
Look, if you want to be completely inundated with Discord badumps,
guys, this is just look at how popping the Strickland Discord is. That's what that was. That was a marketing ploy. It's going crazy in there.
That's what we call guerrilla marketing.
You hear that? That's a lot of content. That's all I'm saying.
That's what we call guerrilla marketing.
Yeah. No, dude, think about how fucking annoying it's going to be when Ben Simmons scores 6 points and everyone's like, Ben Simmons is back. And they're like, Mikal Bridges, 30-point scorer because he has 1 month where he's hot and they win like 40% of their games. And they're doing the underdog shit and they win like slightly more than everyone expected. And they're going to be like, oh, the Brooklyn Nets are back on track. Their star power, they actually didn't really want them. And like now we're moving on to what they really want to do.
Yeah.
Tell me it's not going to happen.
I could see that, but I feel like that's mostly just going to be like the annoying like Nets people on Twitter and shit.
Well, and
like the reporter blogger type dudes that always are annoying from like the Nets fan base, but like in general, I feel like the national media has kind of moved on from there.
There's such an in with the media in general that it's very hard for me to kind of like. I feel like certain teams are good and like this to their credit, they're not. It's a smart thing to do in some sense, right? Like I'm not blaming them. It's just a reality. Like there are certain teams that have an in with people.
I think the Nets are going to get like the same treatment they got with like the D'Angelo Russell team, where it's going to be like, look at these plucky dudes.
But remember how fucking annoying that was?
Right. But the only reason it was annoying then was because the Knicks were bad and that they kept like using that as a way to be like, the Nets got absolutely destroyed in the Paul Pierce trade, whatever. And look at how far they've come. And the Knicks still suck,
that's a good point, but also still fuck them. So
yeah, I mean, I still hate like 80% of the East.
Wait, what's your pick then? Is it Miami?
I mean, I don't think we had to pick like one team. There's a bunch.
Sure, there's like plural teams.
Miami is definitely my number one, though. I mean, it's sort of similar to like when the Hawks knocked the Knicks out. Like it's fuck Miami this year. I want nothing but demise for them. You knock my team out, fuck you. Get out of here. Like
get fucked.
Yeah, the Hawks too, though. I still haven't forgotten. They suck.
True.
Rated ass.
Always. Great point. They were like,
you know who I'm low key? You know who I'm low key really rooting against this year? The Hornets. Fucking, they signed Miles Bridges back. Fuck that. Fuck that. Yeah. Yeah. Fuck them all the way to hell.
What did he sign for?
The qualifying offer. So like $6 million or whatever. Like it was not a lot, but they're basically now being like, you can come back and play because we're desperate, and you're now sort of on a discount, trying to revive your career, but they're also giving him the chance to like potentially earn a bunch of money next year because he's going to be an unrestricted free agent next year.
That's actually pretty cool. Wow.
Yeah, fuck them, dude. Fuck the Hornets.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean,
all in the East though, right? Like, there's no one out West. I don't care about it.
Nobody in the West annoys me that much.
Memphis. Fuck Memphis. Always.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah,
especially all in Marcus Smart now. Mega fuck them. Yeah, mega fuck them.
Okay. Yeah. So no to Memphis, no to just in general, always the Lakers kind of annoy me. This year they're going to be good again.
I like the Lakers. I like watching LeBron. So
I mean, LeBron is fun to watch, but the Lakers, like the narrative that surrounds LeBron, like the aura of a LeBron team is annoying. So
Yeah, but they'll be good, and they
They
play
will be good.
fun basketball.
They
I
do
like
play
that.
really fun basketball too. That's
Yeah,
the fucked up part is that I
yeah,
want to not like them and I want them to play like
yeah, dude.
dinosaur basketball, but they play like really progressive, like evolving basketball in
And
my
dude,
opinion.
Austin Reeves, that dude is I don't know how they got him on that contract. He is
Yeah.
fucking good. That guy is good,
Yeah.
and I like watching him play. Because
Phoenix
that's
is
like,
going to be a
bro,
little
that's like if
uneven.
me and you were on the court. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Yeah, it's true.
the
But
idealized version.
yeah.
Obviously, it's not actually like us being on the court. But like, if me and you were ever going to be in the NBA and be actually good, it would have to be like Austin Reeves. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
pretty much. Yeah. Like just like scrappy as hell, doesn't
Yeah,
make
just
mistakes.
IQ. I mean, obviously he's
Yeah.
an incredible athlete, but relative
Yeah.
to everyone around him, he's
Yeah.
small. It's
Yeah.
not that athletic. It's cool to see.
How you feel about the Suns? I kind of want to say fuck the Suns too. They're going to
Yeah,
be
kind of fucked. I honestly just don't care, dude. Honestly, I
yeah.
don't care about them.
Yeah.
I
My
don't-
team like you said with like that I always love to watch even though people have kind of soured on them. I will like never dislike Golden State as long as Steph Curry's
Oh,
around.
me too, dude. Me too.
Yeah.
Did you watch Underrated?
No.
Oh,
That's his like documentary, right?
yeah, it was really
Yeah.
good. I would
Oh, okay.
recommend that.
It's
Uh,
like it's done in like Last Dance style, right? Like where it's like retrospective, like
yeah, it's interesting. It's a lot more focused on Davidson than I thought it would be.
oh, okay. That sounds kind of cool.
But it's cool. They paint his experience and how it shaped him today, and they do a really good job of it.
Huh. I saw he was on Hot Ones the other day. That I haven't watched it either.
Yes. Also
Apparently he
pretty
told a bunch of Kobe stories or something, apparently. So that's kind of
Oh yeah, he told one. Yeah. There was a funny ass Kobe anecdote. Go watch that shit. Everyone
yeah.
go watch.
Yeah, go
But
check
not
out
yet.
Hot Ones. After you're done with the extremely
Exactly.
popular Strickland YouTube channel, go
Yeah.
check out this small channel called Hot Ones. And
Yeah.
give it a listen.
Give them a little.
They
boost,
really need
you
our
know?
support.
Yeah. Important to be friendly to other content creators.
All right, let's move to our next question because we're clearly going off the rails here. Our own buddy Prez from the Discord wants to know, how do we think the in-game flop penalties are going to work out, and will it drop off after 2 months? So we had to look this up beforehand. I think they tested this in Summer League, but I'm not gonna lie. I watched one game of Summer League, and it was only because I was desperate to make a Locked On Knicks episode one day.
Yeah, bro. There's no one there. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. But so the flop penalty basically now, if the ref either in the moment or in replay review, like how they replay, like they check like 3-point shots and stuff like that to like, like during breaks, to determine if it was a 2 or a 3 and that kind of shit. If either via like live in game or via replay, they determine that a player's flopping, the other team gets a 1-shot technical that anybody on the floor can shoot. And it's not a technical that counts towards like ejection. It's just like a unsportsmanlike technical, but you get a free throw for the other team every time that you flop. So that's how the rule is going to work. So it's essentially, it's just a 1-shot technical. So like, let's start with that first before we get into if we think they're actually going to enforce it long term, because the NBA has a suspect track record with all that sort of stuff with rule changes. But I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's sort of similar to like the clear path. They're trying to eliminate something that's annoying in the game, or not clear path. The take foul thing.
Mhm.
They're just trying to get rid of something that's annoying, and
Yeah.
flopping is more annoying than take fouls. So I'm glad that they're finally addressing it. 1 shot, whatever. I mean, hopefully it's enough to deter people, just because we see 1 shot can sometimes affect the course of a whole game. But I don't know. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, 1 shot is a big deal. I know
Yeah.
it kind of doesn't feel like it, but it is a big deal in the flow of a game sometimes, particularly at the end of a game. And remember that, well, and this is the thing, right? So it depends on the specific implementation. My question is like, so I'm picturing, was it Marcus Smart? Who the fuck did he do this on? He did some bullshit flop
It's
against.
probably Marcus Smart. You got like an
No,
80%
it was 100% Marcus Smart, and he did it twice at the end of a very close playoff game, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't remember who it was against, and it was absolutely game changing. So my question is, number one, do you revert the initial call? So if they determine it's a flop, is there a reversal on the initial call so you get the ball and the shot?
No.
No. So then I don't think it's good enough, because
Yeah.
it's still going to incentivize flopping. Because even if you give up 1 free throw, you're still getting the ball and you took away possession. So I think that's still a net win, especially in a close game. Like, for example, if you're up 2 it is still fine to flop in a lot of circumstances.
I don't know. It was a little unclear. I guess maybe they could, just by virtue of like a normal review, determine that something isn't a foul, like, and then assess a flop penalty.
Well,
Because-
that's the question, though, and that's what I mean,
Yeah.
because it depends on the specific implementation. It's a little vague on the language we read, and
Yeah.
like I feel like sometimes I read these rules and I'm like, okay, that makes sense, and then it starts. There's always these weird circumstances, right, where it's like, why did this end up? This actually turned out to be an advantage, even though it's not intended to be. I think there's going to be some of that. I think it's the first year of the rule. It's a good idea. I'm glad something is being done about it, but I think I still think the way this should really be done is by just having a neutral third party observer just watching at all times, just for flops, and call them out on it and give a free throw and fine them.
Which they already kind of do in Secaucus. I'm assuming this is just going to be another thing they're going to keep watching in Secaucus.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. Well, that's the thing, because like if they're going to a sideline review for like what?
Well,
then
no,
it's not going to work.
So like the 3-point shot reviews that I mentioned, like
right, which they do during commercials.
Right, and those just happen from the review center.
But that means, dude, that you get away with the flop because the game moves on, so you can't go back and reset to the point where the flop happens. So if you foul someone out on a flop and you give up one free throw to do it, you foul out Giannis, but you gave up one free throw. Well, that's a fucking win.
Right, but in like key moments of the game, like late, and you could argue any moment of a game is key, but like I feel like late in the game they're going to review those live. Like those wouldn't be ones that they wait till commercial.
I hope so, but I think that sort of comes back to, I think what we're kind of dancing around this, which is the specific implementation. Like we'll see. I'm glad they're trying something. That's good that it's on the radar, because I'm so fucking tired of this. Like the Knicks have never had a guy who does that shit. So I feel like we've been getting boned by this forever. So I'm very glad that something is being attempted, but I don't think this is. I think it needs to be a little too more fine-tuned, I guess. But it's a good start. I'm being a little overly negative here.
That's because the Knicks only have dogs, and dogs don't flop.
Exactly. Josh Hart flop? Nah.
Yeah. So the other part of it, on a scale of 1 to the increased or the decrease in what was it, the generated contact fouls or whatever a couple years ago that they enforced until all of the guys that live on foul shooting complained about it enough. On a scale of 1 to that, how long you think that this is going to last for, that they're going to keep enforcing it?
I don't fucking know. I hope it lasts, because the thing is, it's necessary in the playoffs more than the regular season. So you better have the balls. Like if you're going to start doing this, you better have the balls to stay with it, because otherwise nothing's ever going to get done. So you better be prepared to like stick to your guns in this one. The counterpoint would be the delay of game. You remember when they started that and they were calling that shit every single time, and then eventually the players adjusted and they still call that. If it's in a nice middle ground, right? Like if you touch the ball back to the ref and you don't really grab it, like they won't call it. But if you grab it and kind of take your sweet ass time, they're going to call it delay game, and I think that's really where it should be. So ideally, they kind of take that angle.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope so too. I hope they stick with it. Like it is annoying that the NBA constantly sort of like makes these changes and then like they just fade away, not by virtue of the rules changing, but by virtue of refs just stopping calling things. And that's annoying to me. So hopefully they stick with it. So all right, next question. This is a really fun one. This is a repeat question asker. This one I'm going to ask to you and to Matt, because this is such a good question. This is fucking hilarious. So Franklin Chubb wants to know, if Elon Musk bought the Knicks, what would he have to do to make you stop being a Knicks fan, or would you remain a Knicks fan no matter what? This is a wild question.
Why am I so stressed out by this?
Just that guy's name is enough to induce a little bit of stress.
Can you imagine?
I would fucking die. That would not be fun.
I don't know what I would do. I mean, I would certainly not go anywhere immediately, but I mean, imagine it. Is there anyone who would meddle quicker than Elon Musk?
No.
Would he change their name immediately or after like 2 weeks?
Oh my God, the New York X. Like after 5
seconds.
The
Y's, dude. New York Y.
Oh, the New York Y's. Yeah.
And it's like a double entendre, you know? Like, why did I change the name?
because it's the wise. Yeah.
Yes. See,
Uh,
now you're getting it.
or he would pull like a totally like some weird ass character like he named his kid, like just be like, yeah, it's actually this symbol actually means Knicks. They're still called the Knicks, but now they won't have the word Knicks anymore. It'll be
It's in
represented by this
wingdings,
symbol.
dumbass.
Yeah, it's in wingdings. Yeah, he's all right. So what would be the thing that would make you that he would do that would make you stop being a fan of the team?
Do you have something that comes to mind immediately?
The rebranding would be annoying, but I guess I could live with it.
A complete rebrand.
Yeah.
Yo, he would too. He just did this with Twitter, one of the most iconic brands in the world.
Yeah.
So buying the Knicks and then calling them the fucking bananas or some shit.
Yeah, just like to troll. I mean, that
Yeah,
would be
yeah,
annoying.
exactly. I
It
never
would be
liked the Knicks,
annoying, but not enough to get me off the bandwagon. I mean,
bro. Imagine if they were now the bananas. Please imagine for 1 second.
like weirdly, outside of the fact that it would be Elon, like that could be kind of fire. Like the merch would be
No,
sick.
dude. No,
But
a banana yellow jersey. No, stop
yeah,
it.
dude. I mean,
No,
that would be kind of
this is
fire.
copium, bro.
Dude, you could get a banana hat that you could peel open, like
Oh
that
my
has
god.
oh my god, like a
Oh
dog
yeah,
ear
like
cap that's
yeah.
banana flaps.
That's pretty good.
That'd be
You're
pretty
doing a
fire.
good save here, but it's not good.
Yeah. So, I mean, in that respect, the bananas thing would be fine, or whatever he would rename the team to. Like the team is still the team then, but
The banana.
I mean, he would just have to
Well,
like honestly, I would put up with all the bullshit. He would just have to eventually like do something so horrendously cancelable that I would be like, I just on principle can't support this team anymore because he
I
is such a
mean,
piece of shit.
yeah, give him some time. Although
Yeah.
honestly, I don't fucking know this guy. How about this? What about when old Donald slides up courtside in MSG?
Oh my god,
Yeah,
if Donald
how
Trump just
about that?
starts like sitting there all the
How
time,
about
it's like
that?
the Knicks, they're the best team in the world. Elon gave me courtside seats for the whole season. This is the best.
I should
Uh
just bring him up at all times just so I can get that impression at all times. I
is
love it.
is it because it's good or bad?
No, it's good. Yeah, it's
Oh,
good.
all right.
It's like just a little bit bad to make it
Yeah.
extra funny. You know what I
Yeah. I
mean?
always think my Trump is like very like mediocre of all the I'm fairly decent at some impressions.
I like your take on it. It's an
Yeah.
interesting take, but I like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm good. I guess we're all good at something.
He's sitting next to Spike Lee.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh my god. He and
Oh,
Spike Lee just like chilling there, fucking.
oh my god, can you imagine? That would be fucking. I don't even know. Let's pray to God nothing like that ever happens.
Yeah, yeah. That would be pretty bad. That would if he gave Donald Trump a courtside season ticket, that might be the thing. I think he might have found it. That might be enough to make me be like, fine, I gotta fuck man, I gotta
Is
switch to
it
another
fuck?
team.
That's where my head went to immediately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be a West Coast team too, because I'm a night owl anyway. So I'll just be like, fuck it. I'm a fucking
Golden
Blazers fan
State,
now or
big
something.
time.
Golden State, whatever. Yeah. I don't care. I like staying up late anyway. So 10 o'clock start times, MBD for me on the East Coast. So um all right. Well, on that happy note, let's move to another question.
Real cheery.
So from our buddy Zach, ZMP323 in the Discord, what are
Shout
your
out to
thoughts?
Zach.
What are your thoughts on the Obi trade and his fit with the Pacers? Zach Deluzio, what are your thoughts?
Zach to Zach. Shout out to Zach. Both of us.
I thought you were saying shouts to yourself. Shout to me and
also
only
I
me.
What are thoughts on the Obi trade? I mean, I don't know. I would have liked to get more, but like we knew this was coming, right? Like, I mean, wasn't this just kind of the inevitability? Like we talked about this a lot. I think we were all hoping that we could get something more than 2 second-round picks, maybe hopefully like a player back, but doesn't sound like that was really a possibility. Makes sense. Obi is okay. He has some upside. I mean, we've talked about this a lot. I think we all agree he wasn't properly utilized. It wasn't really a good environment to showcase his skill set, and that sucks. But he is also not as good as some people think. and is limited and has, kind of troublesome characteristics of his own. So in the end, like that, I don't know. I mean, I'm more sympathetic on a personal level because he seems like such a good dude and really loved being here. So in that sense, I feel for him, but I'm sure he's going to get a lot of applause when he comes back here.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I just find it to be disappointing that it worked the way it did. Like, I don't know. The biggest failing was that the front office did not force Tibbs to run small more often and at least give that a shot, because that could have opened up a window where you at least had Obi getting like 20 minutes a night consistently, which would have been enough
Mhm.
that then I feel like he wouldn't have been pissed off. Fan base wouldn't have been pissed off. Like, everybody wouldn't have been pissed off, and there wouldn't have been this like feeling of like necessity to get this deal done. And maybe you could have let it go for one more year and see what happens going into his restricted free agency or something. But um yeah, I mean, as far as the return, they got about what he was worth for a guy that like couldn't find the floor. Like if you start shopping a guy around the league that's not getting playing time, other teams are going to be like, "Well, you can't tell me that he's good because he might have some highlights from late in the season or whatever, like last year, but then he got less minutes this year, put up worse percentages, like, and is not seeing the floor. So obviously there's something wrong here. So we're not going to give you like a first round pick for him anymore." Um, now it's going to be a pair of seconds, pair of shitty seconds, I might add too. Like they basically dumped him. Like the 2 second rounders they got back are like they have all kinds of protections, and the one is like the worst. They get like the worst second rounder of like 4 different teams or whatever, because it's changed hands like 4 times, and there's like a 4-way swap involved or whatever. Like, just terrible. So I mean, it's whatever. It's sad. His fit with the Pacers, I think he'll be good. I think there's an opportunity for him to step in and like start right away there, especially while they bring along. Oh my God, why is his name escaping me? The kid from Houston
Can't
that they,
help you here, buddy.
yeah, whatever. The guy they drafted this year, the power forward, whose name is escaping me right now. Jarris Walker. Jarris Walker. As long as I'm saying that right. But anyway, so while he's coming along, Obi can potentially start. Maybe holds on to that job, maybe doesn't. But I mean, I think that he'll have a good time running the floor a lot because the Pacers
Yeah,
like to
he's going to
run.
fit well with Halliburton. Is the thing.
Yeah. And having spacing from Turner,
Yeah,
being spaced out to 3 a
well,
lot to be able to get inside.
crazy.
I mean,
That fucking guy.
he's out there enough that the opposing center at least has to respect him to a degree, or else, get a potential.
Sometimes, but
Sometimes.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you.
I
It's
think it'll be fun.
I mean, good for him. I hope he does well. I hope he gets the bag.
Yeah. Yeah, I hope he does well, and then I hope he signs elsewhere
Yeah,
other than the
exactly,
Pacers.
exactly. Go get signed elsewhere. I mean,
So
he's
so I can root for you more.
extension eligible. Is he already?
He's extension eligible right now, but I can almost
Yeah,
guarantee they're not going to. They
right.
have
No,
to do
no,
it
of course
before the
not. Of
season.
course not. No, but what
And
I
then
mean is like this is his chance to get the fucking bag.
yeah,
So
he'll probably be a restricted free agent next summer, in
right,
which case he could sign a big ass offer sheet if he
yeah,
does really
a
well.
little hard to see anyone really doing that, but
Yeah. I mean,
it'll be
I
interesting.
just hope
I'm
he goes
rooting
to a West Coast team. If he goes to a
Yeah,
West Coast team,
yeah,
they're good for
exactly. Oh, go to the fucking Spurs. Go play with Wemby. Let's go.
him. Ooh, that would be a good fit.
Oh
That would
man,
be
he'd be
fun.
great there. But
Or
I
dude,
mean, that.
I
Well, they're
contend
not.
he'd be great for the Warriors. I think he'd be a great
Oh, he
Warrior.
would be. Yeah, that would be.
Yeah,
Oh, that'd be so fucking
that'd be so
awesome.
fun. He would be so good.
Oh my god, you're right,
So that's my ultimate hope for him, is that he goes somewhere where he can have fun
bro.
and
He would
have
be
fun
such a good
stories.
fit with Steph. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
Oh, it would be nonsense. It'd be so good. All the cutting and dunking and
Yeah,
just like
dude,
Draymond
exactly.
too. Like
Oh
he would
my god,
get,
he'd have so much fucking fun.
yeah, he would have so much fun.
Oh,
So that's my greatest
good
hope
hope.
for him. Go
Good
sign with the
hope.
Warriors. All right. Next question comes to us from Knight of Cups in the Discord. What if Randall has another down year? Do the Knicks pivot to focus on Brunson and RJ, or would you take one all NBA season for one sucky one every other year? No. Short answer, if he comes in and he sucks ass again, I'm fully on board to get rid of him again, to be clear, because you can't have players that show up every other year. That's just not a thing. So I feel like that's a pretty easy question. Zach, I don't know. Do you feel any different?
No, but I do. I feel like This reminds me of like what you remember. Actually, it's funny we were talking about Steph earlier and this doc because this reminded me of it because I watched this yesterday. But you remember early in his career, everyone was like, Steph is so injury prone because he just got injured a bunch. But like sometimes shit just happens.
Yeah.
Um, Randall had one really bad year after a good year.
Two. I mean, you
Well,
could.
no. So what's like as a normal trajectory, right? Obviously, he had a bad beginning, then he had a great year, then he went back down, and had another great year. In that span, we've talked about this before. All we said over and over was like he needs a point guard, and we don't have one. And now we got a point guard, and he had a great season again. Like I just think it's kind of funny that the conclusion we're still like I get it. It's like a collective trauma. You know what I mean? You're like, oh Jesus, what if shitty Julius Randle comes back? What are we gonna do? I would not worry about it. It's not gonna happen. Like he might the playoff stuff. That's still TBD. Like how good he's gonna be in the playoffs. But he's also making $25 million.
Like 26,
So
27, something like that.
yeah. Did anyone see Jalen Brown's newest deal?
Oh yeah, I know. He's massively underpaid.
Yeah, so like honestly, I'm not worried at all. I mean, if he comes out and plays like absolute shit, but I'm not. I don't think that's honestly even realistic.
I mean, I don't think it's going to happen, but that is what the question poses. So that's why I was answering.
Yeah, in that sense, then I mean, I think pretty obviously you pivot to Brunson RJ, and I think you're still in a pretty good position, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, if he comes out as 21-22 Randall this year, like I'm not even waiting till the trade deadline. I'm being like by like December, I'm like, all right, get the fuck out. Like we're gonna find a trade.
Starting Jericho Sims.
Yeah, I mean, because now you can't disrupt those vibes anymore. Like the vibes are too good now on the team to be like, oh, someone who's
that's why it's not gonna happen.
Right, which is why it's not probably. Yeah. But if it did, then that's the clear cut sign of like,
I can sense the trauma still in you, Alex. You're like,
yeah.
probably.
Yeah,
probably will be fine.
85%. No, I'm just kidding. I think it's probably like a 99% chance that he's over that whole stage.
Bro, it's fine. I understand.
But if he's not, like, then yeah, it's time to cut bait. Like, there's no way that you just put up with a player that every other year decides to just completely melt down.
I mean, it would be bizarre. I would want to like study him.
Yeah, right. But on another team, I would study him on the next team that he went to, not on the Knicks.
On the Pelicans.
Yeah, I mean, he would be a great case study, just not on the Knicks anymore. So yeah, I think that's pretty easy answer for that. So we've got I put these under nerdy. There's some Marvel questions I'm going to save for Matt for the second part of the episode. For some stuff that I haven't watched yet. I'm normally on top of these things, but I haven't watched Secret Invasion yet. And now people are trying to say that it sucks ass. So we'll see how that all goes.
I love that you're like they're trying to say that it sucks ass.
I've seen mixed reviews. Like I've seen some people say like it's worse than what they said. Other people saying like, no, this is exactly what they're making fun of in She-Hulk. Like I have seen that like at the end, there's just like a giant superpower fucking fight that everybody hates. So that's
doesn't sound great considering I want to the only shows before we move on that I've watched was WandaVision, and that show was ruined by a giant dumb fight at the end. I mean, not ruined, that's dramatic, but like it was like this great nuanced characters thing, and then they're like big fight.
Yeah. But they did. They openly made fun of it at the end of She-Hulk, which is a great show, and that was kind of hilarious. Yeah. Wait, do you want me to tell you what happened at the end of that show?
Sure. I don't think I'm gonna watch it. So yeah, you get that.
Basically, she's like the whole show. She's like fourth wall breaking, like Deadpool, kind of, So she'll like talk to the camera and shit, and like narrate her own story, sort of. And it hits like this, like the climax, and she's at like this, like anger management retreat or whatever, like for superheroes or some shit. I forget what the whole thing was, but like the one Abomination as his human self was running it. And then like all of a sudden, like everybody takes like Hulk serum, and like a couple people like Hulk out, like this like douche bro like turns into like a Hulk because he's like, I want to be more manly or whatever. And then they're like setting up this giant like Hulk fight.
Was his name James?
No. But then she literally just like hits the pause button on the episode and is like, what the hell, dude? Like, are we really still doing this? Like this cliche bullshit. And then she like did it. Oh yeah, she said that. She's like, "Are we really still
No,
doing this?"
but did they do it anyway, or did
No,
they
no, no,
stop it from happening?
no,
Oh,
no.
thank God. Okay.
So then the whole story is that she
Okay.
goes and she like pops through into the Disney Plus like app and then like jumps out of a TV and then like goes and speaks to Marvel executives and
Wow.
then figures out that it was very like South Parkian where like she's like, I have to go talk to Kevin. And they're like, oh, Kevin is this way, like the head of Marvel, you know.
Yeah.
And she
Oh,
keeps
right,
looking for him and looking for him, and then finally makes it to the room. And Kevin is just like a robot that's just spitting out cliches.
right.
And
No.
yeah, it was pretty
No,
funny.
that would be funny if it then prompted a change everywhere
Except
else,
then
but
they
it
apparently
clearly
just went
did
back to it
not.
again, which is kind of hilarious. So
Yeah,
now I just kind of want to see it.
I love that they greenlit that and then
Yeah,
immediately went back on it. That
yeah,
is just
yeah.
truly staggering.
Yeah, but anyway, so we're skipping those till tomorrow. So I'll let Matt talk about the nuts and
Oh
bolts
god,
because he's actually watched the show. But
I'm so tired.
in the meantime, our buddy Zach ZMP323 is back again with another question and wants to know what's the best thing you've watched this summer. Zach, what is the best thing you've watched this summer?
Oh, dude, I haven't watched too many TV shows. We were talking about this before. I'm not a huge TV guy anymore.
It doesn't have to be TV, it could be a movie.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a movie. I'm gonna go with two because
Okay.
I'm kind of cheating. But yeah, dude, I don't have time to watch TV anymore. I feel like I can't fucking sit, dude. I like start a show and I'll be like, and I just don't keep watching it. It's kind of crazy. I need something to grab me.
You need to get
Ahsoka,
like
that's coming
Clockwork
soon.
Orange.
I'm excited for Ahsoka.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that should be fun.
yay, Star Wars dork. What did I dude? The Dungeons and Dragons movie fucking ruled. I
Yeah.
would not say it's not like a good movie, but it captured like what it's like to play Dungeons and Dragons so well, and that I think is like the point of a movie like that is like let's do a weird, funny adventure. That's what it's all about. It was super awesome. I'd recommend that to anyone who's played the game. But also, dude, Barbie was really good.
I still haven't seen it yet.
It was really good.
I want to see Barbie and Oppenheimer this week.
Yeah, no. Barbie was really good. I was really surprised.
Yeah, I was away on vacation when both came out, and I'm pissed that I haven't seen them yet. And it's
Yeah, I
like,
didn't see Oppenheimer.
yeah, it's like over a week since they've come out, and I still haven't seen either of them yet.
Well, it was still, I mean, there was still almost so I had to sit in the front row. It was so fucking annoying. I was like, this has to be like, I haven't sat in the front row in forever. This is probably way worse in my head than it is in real life. And then we sat in the front row and I was like, this is awful.
Yeah. I mean, you're also in the city, so
Yeah,
sucks to
dude.
be
Well,
you.
the thing is still there's a lot of people going.
Yeah,
So
I'm
it's
out
very
here in the
popular.
stick. I'm out here in the sticks, buddy. I can go to a show whenever I want.
Yeah,
So
that's true. Dude, just go. It was really good. Take
we
your
will.
wife for sure.
Oh, we definitely will at some point
Yeah.
this week. We'll probably go see both at different times, hopefully.
Dude, it was fucking hilarious. I was like cracking up.
Yeah, I heard it was very funny.
Yeah, just don't bring your toxic masculinity. Just leave that at the door.
I want to bring extra toxic masculinity.
Yo, that'd be hilarious though. Dress
Let's
up
see.
like that.
My
Sorry, go ahead.
favorite things I watched this summer. I was just telling you, I had a slightly delayed flight this past week, and I got to watch 3 movies on there, but the first one that I was super excited to watch was Creed 3. To finally watch that. I watched that, really enjoyed that. I actually watched the whole Creed series for the first time. I think all in the summer, because I'm pretty sure that I watched the first 2 when my wife was on a work trip in like May or June or something. So I've watched them all this summer and I very much like them. I don't know how I waited so long to watch those movies because I freaking love the Rocky movies. And I heard that they were like, this is just Rocky for a new age. And it fucking was. And they were fantastic. The third one was really cool. I know that the final fight scene, some people loved it, some people hated it. I thought it was pretty cool, and I liked how they shot it. I thought it was cool to sort of go surreal with it for once because it's just a different way to approach talent, to pop through like 8-9 rounds of fighting without having to just sit there and be like, oh, he got his eye busted open in this round, and then like, oh, let's cut him again, and then like, oh, now the other guy got his eye busted open this
9
round.
rounds, but a lot of rounds.
Yeah, exactly. There's a lot of rounds, and they normally show all that, and that's fine. It's a
Really?
boxing
They show
movie.
all 9?
No, I mean they don't show like the entire thing, but they'll like narrate you through the whole fight and
Oh,
like
okay,
show
okay.
you like snippets from
Yeah.
the various rounds or whatever. So this one they did a little different. They did like a very like stylized, like it was supposed to be like what both of them were thinking, like taking themselves out of the crowded stadium, and like so like just like based off their past traumas or whatever, because they were like
Interesting.
old friends and shit. So like it was all this stuff like where Jonathan Major's character was like locked up or whatever. So like he was like beating like Michael B. Jordan into the ropes, and like then they like in their heads like the ropes turned into like a jail cell. And so it's like he's like beating him up against the edge of a jail cell kind of thing, and like all this other shit. So it was kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then so those have been good on the movie side. TV side, this might be like a weird one. I've been watching that show Alone, and it has brought my wife and I much joy. We like accidentally caught an episode or two while we were out
The
seeing my
irony
dad.
of that is crazy.
Dude, that show is wild. It is
Alone?
Alone.
I've
Yeah.
never heard of it.
So it's like so they take 10 contestants.
Oh,
And
it's reality TV.
it's
Oh,
it's reality survival
okay.
TV, but it's like none of the bullshit. Like they so these people get dropped in like these remote ass locations, and it's like, all right, you get like a tarp and like a knife and some twine and whatever, and they get to pick like 10 little items they could bring with them, like little like mini tools and shit.
Wait, do they get? So they pick it.
Yeah, they get to pick their like toolkit.
Do people pick like dumb shit?
Sometimes, but like
Okay,
some people will be
yeah.
like, I'm only gonna fish, so I didn't bring a bow and arrow,
Right.
stuff like that.
Interesting. So it's
But
like your loadout. It's your loadout.
yeah, but then they have to
Yeah.
like completely live off the land, and it's literally like they're all fully separate to one another. I have no idea if they're the first person, the last person, whatever. And you just have to be the last person to not tap out.
Wow.
And the people end up usually going like somewhere between 60 and like 90 days
That's a
completely.
long time.
Yeah. And they all like lose like some of them get like medically pulled because like they have to do
Yeah.
like medical checks like once a
Right.
week or something, or once every few days or whatever. Um and so
Jesus Christ.
some of them they go and they're like, you have lost like 65 pounds since you got here, and like you're like emaciated and like you're at risk of heart failure, like you're gonna have to go. And they
Wow.
like pull people out. It's a fucking wild show, dude.
But this does sound pretty interesting. I'm
Dude,
not gonna lie.
don't like if you start it, you're gonna
You
get
like
fucking
learn? Is it like learning too? Like, does it
yeah.
help you?
Hmm.
Like, it teaches you shit about potentially surviving in the wilderness? I'm just
Absolutely.
curious because I like learning shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
I find it's like very informative. Like a lot of the people are like really good hunters, and like
Right.
like you only
Yeah, they
learn
must
so
have skills though, right? Like these aren't
uh
just people like us, right?
Oh no, no, no. They like pre-screen them
Yeah,
like
yeah,
so
yeah.
that they pick people
Okay,
that like know how to hunt and
that's
like
pretty
are
cool.
survivalists and shit.
Wow,
But
this is
then
what they live for, bro.
yeah, but then they always put up, this is always interesting to me because there's been a couple guys that are built like you or I that are on the show. They're like 6'4", 6'5".
But I bet that doesn't
And
work
it doesn't, because they're
because they're too
like,
big.
yes, because what
Yeah,
ends up happening is that then they're like, this guy's having it, like they always end up having a tap because they just lose too much weight and shit, because
yeah.
they literally
Because
post
you can't
stats.
eat enough.
Right. They post
Yeah,
stats on there, and they're like, for someone of this person's size to survive, they and like maintain their weight, they have to eat like 3,000 calories a day.
correct. That's
And most
exactly how much.
and
Yeah,
most of the people end up eating like 600
several
calories a
hundred.
day, if
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
And
Right.
so the people that are like super tall and whatever always end up like way like they get fucked early, and
Yeah, I'm
it's usually
sure.
like the smaller people end up winning it and stuff. But yeah, it's a fucking fun show, dude. I would
People think
definitely
being tall is all it's crack up. It's everything.
no, we're built for the
Getting
modern
3,000
world.
calories a day.
Yeah, no, people our size are built for the modern world, not for
Yeah,
the
it's true.
not for the
And
past.
like being a Viking and shit.
Yeah. I think that tall people literally just exist because of the fact that like they can survive now. That's why humanity's getting taller over time, is because it's like, oh, we can get bigger now because we can sustain
Well,
ourselves.
and
And I
then
feel like that,
selection also starts to
yeah, yeah, that's
the
true too.
whole
I feel like it's
whole
part of
everything.
evolution, you know what I mean? It's a
Yeah.
whole thing. Anyway, all right. Let's take the alternate side of this coin. So Duder Adam wants to know out of the Discord, what's the worst thing you've watched this summer aside
Oh,
from
dude.
Secret Invasion? Which man, now I feel like I have to watch it between today and tomorrow.
You just
Uh
dunking on it. Wow.
yeah. And Duder says, I want to experience some S tier hating. I don't know if I have any S tier hating. I feel like I've been
Yeah, dude. I don't know. What if I? What the thing is, if I hate it, I just turn it off and forget about it.
Right? Yeah.
So I don't know. And like, well, but the other thing is like the ones that are best for hating are actually like kind of entertaining and therefore not really bad. Like bad to me, the worst thing it can be is just boring, and I don't watch it because I'm like, this is dumb, stupid.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I've been
Yeah.
like really curating what I've been watching. Like even stuff that I've been watching, like streaming movies or whatever. I'm like, I know 99% I'm gonna like this, so I'm gonna watch it. Like Cocaine Bear or something. Like I'm like,
yeah, but that movie was like fucking. Everyone knew that was fucking ridiculous.
right. And that's why like when I watched it, I'm like, I know exactly what this is going into it. Like,
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I
I
won't be
could be a
disappointed.
hater for the sake of playing a character, and in that sense, I could go with Under the Silver Lake. Have you seen this movie?
What is it?
Under the Silver Lake with fucking Andrew Garfield.
No, I haven't watched.
Dude, this movie it was like a neo noir, I think it's called, or like a modern noir film. It was just like the most fucking bizarre shit. It was like I mean, it was an A24 movie, and it's the first A24 movie where I was like, I don't think I really enjoyed that too. Like it was fine, but it was just batshit insane, dude. It was like someone took just like a lot of cocaine. Speaking of Cocaine Bear, and just like was like noir. Let me tell you about noir. Here's what's happening. Here's what's happening. We're resolving none of this, and I love cocaine, and that's the entire movie. But Andrew Garfield was good in it, so it was like well made. So
Cool.
yeah, that was it.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't watched because the other thing is there hasn't even been like anything that I'm like I feel obligated to watch, like TV show wise or whatever. And I feel like that's where hate can come from. If
Oh,
like
Mando season 3, I could hate on that.
I guess you could, yeah. I thought it
No,
was
I'm not going
fine.
there.
I thought it was a
I'm not
good
going there.
season.
No, 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 I'm not doing it. We're at the end of an hour.
Yeah.
This is opening a door. Uh, it wasn't even that bad. I'm so bored, dude.
Yeah, I don't know.
I literally fell
I
asleep.
enjoyed Mandalorian.
I fell asleep during an episode. Do you know how hard that is? Like literally my entire life is waiting for new Star Wars shit, and it doesn't have to be really even that good. And it's just like I'm falling asleep. Why is Baby Yoda in the IG-11? Why is my brain melting? Why
because
is this happening?
they had to give Baby Yoda a yes, yes, no, no button, you
They
know?
didn't.
They did. They
Why?
had to. Because he
Why
can't
would we
talk.
have to do
They
this?
gave him a voice, damn it. They gave
Why
him a
are they
voice.
eating cotton candy on Coruscant with ex-Nazis? I don't understand. What is going on?
Oh my
Why is this giant rock so blatantly green screened in? What is going on?
god.
What? No, I'm done. That's it. Sorry.
All right. Well, that was great. All right. Well, I think we're set. I think
Wow,
that's it
look
for
at
this
that. Right,
episode.
right on an hour.
Yeah, I'll have to think if there's anything that I've hated
Yeah, go digging, bro. I
for when
know you got something you want to dunk on.
yeah, for when we go into part 2 with Matt. In this case,
Exactly.
I blanked. I thought maybe something would come to me, but it didn't. So maybe I'll think about it a little more. And then when I record the part with Matt, then maybe we'll see if something else comes up. But until then, that's it for the first part. So we're gonna hop right into the second part with Matt with the power of editing right now. Whoa, look at that. It's a new co-host that just popped in. That beautiful man in his dimly lit room has been replaced by a Mr. Dolan avatar.
It's me, Mr. Dolan. Thank you for having me on the show, Alex. I don't know why I'm trying to do a Dolan impression. I don't remember what he sounds like, so I was just doing like a slightly different voice.
He just sounds like every other billionaire douchebag.
Yeah, I mean, he like doesn't really have a very distinguishable voice,
No.
so I was not really going to be able to do something. But anyway, not surprising to me that Zach's room is dimly lit and his microphone sounds bad. He really puts a lot of effort into this, and I always appreciate that.
You know what the best part was with Zach was he showed up when we went to record last night, and like his camera was on, so he must have known that it was on when he clicked into the room, and he clicks in and he's shirtless, and I'm like, "Are you planning on going like that?" And he's like, "Oh fuck, I forgot we're on camera." He's like, "It just gets hot in here because I have to turn the AC off while we're recording because the AC is right next to my computer." So,
Yeah.
and I'm like, "Yeah, no, dude, we're on computer now. So
Yeah,
like, we're on camera now. Rather, you gotta put a fucking shirt on."
My AC is actually right next to my computer too, but number one, it's colder today than it was yesterday, so I can get away with no AC and not be sweating. But also, I could be naked for all you know, because as everyone can see, I have no video, which is because my laptop video doesn't work for some reason, and I can't figure out why.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. We'll get you a webcam one of these days. Don't worry about it. All right, let's get into these questions because I don't have to read all the spiels. Although if you're not subscribed to Patreon already, do it. Patreon.com/Strickland. All right. So from G Baked in the Discord, please list some reasons why you think the Knicks are going to win the championship this year. Matt, the floor is yours.
Okay. Number one, it is an even Randall year.
That's a bad thing.
You're right. As I was saying, I was wait.
Technically, it's an odd Randall year, but yes,
yeah, no, it's an odd Randall year. Yeah, okay, but I got screwed up. Yeah, as I was saying, I was like, this doesn't sound right because he was good last year. But then I remember that he was bad in the playoffs last year, which is what confused me. But he was only bad in the playoffs because he was hurt, so that was a whole different issue.
Maybe this year it'll be the inverse. Maybe he'll be bad in the regular season and then turn into like prime Kobe in the playoffs. I mean,
they probably have enough shit around him now that like if he is bad in the regular season, it'll be fine as long as Tibbs recognizes that. But you know, I'd prefer to be good in the regular season, obviously. No, okay. So the real number one reason is always Jalen Brunson. Like, I mean, he almost won the Knicks that series against Heat by himself when everyone else was playing like dog duty. That might be like the only reason, honestly. If they're going to win a championship with this team, it's that Brunson's just going to have to go like insane in the playoffs and score, 50 points by himself every game, which honestly it could happen. I wouldn't put it past him. I mean, he's so good that I would not put it past him. But, everyone's gotten, all the young guys are a year older. Hopefully that means a year better. Quickly, one of these times is going to not suck in the playoffs. Fingers crossed, like eventually he's going to not look like the worst player on the floor. And I know I'm going to get like a lot of shit for that. Not from you. I know you agree with me, but I feel like I'm going to get a lot of shit from, the people who don't want to admit that Quickly has faults, which there are some of those on our staff.
Mm-hmm.
I love Quickly. I think he's amazing, but he, it's okay to acknowledge that he was awful in the playoffs again last year. And that's a problem. So hopefully that's rectified with another full playoffs under his belt. I think, hopefully Tibbs keeps the lessons that he learned last year throughout the season and like plays better rotations. I mean, he's going to be forced into it unless he does some insane shit by playing like somewhat, Sims at the 4 as Randall's backup, which I don't really think there's been any indication of. I think probably he's going to have Hart play the backup 4, which is good. I mean, we've all wanted that. If you're going to play Hart and RJ in lineups together, which he probably will still do, then really needs to be with them in the 3 and the 4 and not the 2 and the 3. So, I guess, number one, Jalen Brunson, but 2 would be the young guys having another year of experience with their belts. And then 3 would be that Tibbs has kind of been forced into playing rotations that we're all going to, think analytically make more sense.
Yeah, I agree with you on the Brunson front. It's going to require, like I've been saying, my like lukewarm take this offseason has been Jalen Brunson can be the top offensive option on a championship caliber team. And I truly do believe that, like, and specifically the offensive option, I don't think that you can rely on like, okay, Brunson is like on both ends, like in the cumulative, like our best player. I think you're going to need someone who's like a two-way stud that maybe isn't necessarily quite as talented at bucket getting as Brunson, but they're going to go as far as he could take them as far as on the offense, because we already kind of saw that. I think the other biggest factor, I mean, I know that this was asked as sort of like tongue-in-cheek, like overly optimistic by G-Baked, but the real answer to me is the thing that would make me think the Knicks could win a championship this year would obviously just be like, do they make a trade that puts them in that position?
Yeah.
Do they make the trade, and like, is the trade good enough to actually make them a championship contender? Because I really do think if they make the right trade at this point for the right star to go with Brunson and presumably Randall, maybe there is a chance that this could be a team that actually competes. I mean, we saw this past year, like the East was super wide open and the league in general is just kind of more wide open, I think, than it's been in, I don't know, the last 15 years or so. Maybe even like 20 something years, like we kind of just like bounced from dynasty to dynasty to dynasty for so long. Like it was the Lakers, then it was the Spurs, then it was the Celtics and Lakers, and then then the Warriors, obviously, the Spurs and Heat, traded a couple in there, but it was just like this, very small exclusive group of teams, mostly from the West, that ever actually broke through for a long time. And now it seems like every single year you could pick any one of 5 or 6 teams that, if the injuries, and the circumstances break right, could potentially win a championship. And I don't think the Knicks, as they're currently constructed, could reach that status.
No.
I don't know if I don't know that like Tibbs is a good enough coach, to be completely honest, that they have like a Heat run in them like the Heat did this past year. So yeah, I think it comes down to the big trade.
No, I think you're right. I think the only, honestly, if they don't make a trade, my serious answer to G-Baked, if we're going to have to give a reason, if they don't make a trade, is that they get to the playoffs and Brunson just goes supernova for a month and a half.
Brunson goes like Danny Murphy on the Mets in 2015.
Yeah,
that's what he'd have to do.
Yeah, which I don't really think is possible. I think Brunson can do what he did against the Heat again, but like they didn't fucking win that series. I don't actually think he can do it. But if it's going to happen without a trade, then that's what it is. Is that Brunson just goes like, Super Saiyan God when when the playoffs come. Here's a question for you though. Speaking of the trade, let's say Harden does not go to the Clippers, and I'm not saying Harden to the Knicks. I saw that today, and I'm like, that is not the trade to make. I'd be so mad if that's who they brought in, but because he'd probably want to be traded again by the deadline, so that'd be a total waste of time. If Harden doesn't go to the Clippers and they just stink because Kawhi's not healthy, George is maybe healthy here and there, but not enough to carry the team on his own. Do you think they're going to revisit trading George at the deadline?
Maybe. I mean,
I think they're too stubborn, but
yeah, I think so too. I think the Bomber is like Steve Cohen, but crazier and less willing to accept defeat. Like this year was, we're gonna get to questions about the Mets in a couple minutes too, because they just went through the trade deadline with Steve Cohen. It was like their first time as sellers under him,
right?
And like, I like Ballmer is the same deal where he's like one of the most wealthy owners in all of sports, and like desperately will spend whatever it takes to like win a championship for the Clippers just because he wants to. And I don't know that he is savvy enough to know like the ins and outs of when to blow it up in the NBA. And so like if he's kind of still in that like mid to late 2000s Dolan stage where he like wants to keep putting his nose in things and still kind of having like a semi-final say on things, which it sort of seems like he does at this point, then I just don't see where they would be able to sell to him like, yo, it's time to trade George. It's time to cut bait. Like, Kawhi's not going to work out either, probably, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. You know what I mean? Like we got to start the rebuild at some point, and we got to get something back for these guys. I don't know if Ballmer would okay that or not, but if he did become available, I would go after him for sure.
I mean, I would. I don't know if I've ever said this on the pod because we haven't done one in a while, but you specifically know I would. I really want Paul George. I think that's the answer to G-Base's question is actually trade for Paul George, and then I think they could win the championship. Personally.
I think there's a decent chance. Like if it was like RJ and like,
well, the point is RJ
would be the centerpiece. I guess it would be who else you're including other than that. Like RJ and one of Grimes or Quickly and some picks.
Yeah, I mean, I think it has to be Quickly. Like you can't give up Grimes. I think it has to be Quickly, which sucks. I don't want to give up Quickly either. But
but then I think you still have enough in infrastructure. I agree. Like I think that George is good enough. Like he's that two-way player if he's healthy.
That's exactly what you were describing before. The player that they need. Like that's him.
that can buoy you on both ends, that maybe isn't necessarily more talented than Jalen Brunson on offense, but is definitely like he would be like the most talented player on both ends on the team and like all that stuff. Like, yeah,
I think it just like you have Paul George. First of all, I think he would be thrilled to be in a Tibbs defense. So like you have either George or Grimes covering their team's best defender, than the other one guarding the weak side, which is where Tibbs puts the second best defender in his scheme. Like that. I mean, what team is going to have two better individual defenders in those spots than the Knicks would in that scenario?
Yeah, I don't know that you can find any team that would have better wing defense than the Knicks with Grimes and George if they were both healthy and both good. I mean, that's elite. And Grimes kind of had his coming out party against Butler in the Heat this year, where it's like, no, I think he's like legitimately like
I think the only downside would be if you trade it quickly, like you need to hope that Deuce is really taking a leap and being a viable rotation piece, because like right now, I mean, the defense is there, but he can't score. And like, he can't, we haven't really even seen him run an offense well yet. So like that would be having no one to back up Brunson, not as big of a deal in the playoffs, but like he needs to sit sometimes. So like you can't just be, bleeding points when Brunson's on the bench for, 10 minutes a game or whatever in the playoffs.
Yeah. Is Reggie Jackson still on the Clippers?
I don't know.
Honestly. I feel like he is, and like if he is, that would be the guy that I would target and be like
talk for third. Oh no, I meant just vamp so I can look this up. I didn't want my keyboard clacking to be.
Hold on, you just muted for some reason right before you were about to talk there.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, now I can hear you.
Oh, I muted myself just so my keyboard clacking wouldn't be on the on the stream. So I just said just vamp for a minute, but I guess you didn't hear me.
I did not. Well, that's hilarious. Well, now I'm going to leave this in because I think that's a funny enough moment to leave in.
I did Reggie Jackson, the baseball player. He is still on the Clippers.
Okay, cool. So that would be the guy that I would be like, send him back to. Wait, George.
Sorry. His basketball reference nicknames are Mr. June, which, okay, I know where that comes from. And then Big Government. Like he's a Democrat.
Big Government.
Big Government.
Cool.
Get these shit from. Before we move on, real quick, I want to very briefly answer Franklin Chubb's question, which you guys answered already.
Yeah. So let me read that one again in case anybody forgot. If Elon Musk bought the Knicks, what would he have?
Sorry, the other Franklin Chubb question.
Oh my God, dude! What's the other one? Which teams do you think you'll despise the most this season? Okay, cool. Yeah, do that one.
Yeah, it's the Cavs. I'm so preemptively irritated by them. Not the Cavs themselves, but like the way people talk about the Cavs. I mean, the amount of lists I've seen, top Eastern Conference contenders that never fucking include the Knicks and always include the Cavs, even though the Knicks like curb stomped them in the playoffs last year. And what reason do we have to believe that? Yeah, the Cavs will probably be a little bit better because like they made upgrades where they needed to. But like, why do we believe that the Knicks wouldn't just fucking stomp them again?
Because reasons? I don't know.
Because the Knicks are the Knicks and the Cavs are young. Even though the Knicks are young too, but like people don't think of the Knicks as young for I don't know why.
Evan Mobley is going to turn into prime KD. Like, instantly.
It's just anyway, we can move on. I just had to get that out. I can't stand the Cavs.
They were on my list, but my number one was the Heat. And
it's just like baseline hate for the Heat, but like I don't hate them more than I already did. You know?
Zach's was the Nets, which I thought was stupid because I feel like they're going to go back to being,
they're going to suck. Who cares?
Yeah. You know what my sleeper was though? Get this one. This is a good one. My sleeper, Charlotte Hornets.
Interesting.
Do you know why?
I don't.
Because they fucking signed Miles Bridges back to a fucking contract.
Oh shit! I forgot about that. Yeah, that's
those assholes. I want nothing but for them to burn.
Terrible franchise. Speaking of, like, I mean, not to make a joke of that at all, and I'm not trying to, but I do want to remember to talk about something when we talk about baseball later. So I'm just putting that out there in case I forget. Okay. But anyway, we can. That's it. I just had to get the Cats out there because it just I cannot stand seeing them. The Heat too, honestly. Like they don't have Damian Lillard yet.
No.
Even if they did, I don't know if they'd be better than the Knicks. They beat them in the series, like, but it's not the same as the Knicks. Like they didn't curb stomp the Knicks the way the Knicks curb stomped the Cavs.
They did for like one game.
One game. Yeah.
And that was
one game, which we all conveniently happened to be gathered for. But
yeah, which was really unfortunately.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, how about let me float the other Franklin Chubb question that Zach and I already answered to, because I thought this one was too good. I have to ask you this one as well. If Elon Musk bought the Knicks, what would he have to do to make you stop being a Knicks fan, or would you remain a Knicks fan no matter what?
I mean, I think it would be, the thing is, like, I can't pretend. I'm still on fucking Twitter. Well, I'm not even gonna say it. I'm still on Twitter. So, like, and he's literally changed the name of Twitter. He's changed you know what I can't get over? This more than changing the name, which is already dumb, and they're like probably days away from having to change it back, because like I think Meta has a trademark for X, and they
No, I learned about this at work. Apparently, that's not what it was cut out to be. Apparently, the whole like trademark thing is they have the rights to like the X that was part of an app that they bought out or something, but you can't. So this is gonna be a problem for Elon too. You can't actually trademark a letter.
That's not surprising.
Yeah, apparently that's the thing. You can't actually trademark a letter. You can own like your logo of a letter. So like Elon can like trademark his little X.
Yeah.
Just like Zuckerberg owns the trademark for an X that was part of this other app or something.
Interesting.
That they bought out. But yeah, you can't actually. So apparently that's not an issue, and yet I guess also means that someone could finesse Elon out of the name somehow at some point or something. I don't know.
What I was going to say was that they'd like taken down the Twitter facade on the building in San Francisco and put up an X, but now the X is down.
Yeah, because that broke all kinds of building codes and shit. And they were like disturbing the peace with how fucking bright it was.
I just wouldn't be surprised if like in 2 weeks it's back to Twitter.
It would be kind of funny,
because I mean he changed tweets to posts, although that hasn't actually pushed to my version of the app yet, which I'm very happy about.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, I saw someone point this out. It's literally a dictionary definition now, that like there's another definition of tweet, which is the Twitter one. And this dummy changed the name of something that like no other social media app has like a dictionary. Like Instagram posts obviously like are not like under the definition of post, like tweets. You say tweet, everyone knows what that is, and he fucking changed it because I don't really understand, and no one really understands, except for the fact that he wanted to name PayPal X 30 years ago, and they didn't do it. So he's like getting back at PayPal by naming Twitter X because he's a baby. Anyway, I got way off track here. The point is, I think unfortunately there isn't anything he can do that would make me stop being a Knicks fan, which upsets me, but is the truth.
Yeah, Zach and I even went through like rebranding, and Zach was like, what if you just decided to call them like the Bananas? And I was like, I'd fucking wear Bananas gear.
I actually would think that'd be pretty fun. The problem is he wouldn't call them the Bananas because the Bananas would be funny. He would think of something that
he would call them like the Z's or something. Or
like he'd call them like the woke mob, and he'd be like, isn't this hilarious? And honestly, okay, I would not wear a New York woke mob shirt. So,
no, but you would still root for the team.
I would root for the New York woke mob, but I would not go to any games or wear. Well, I would walk to MSG.
Yeah, but my ultimate thing was just if he did something so horrifically cancelable that I had to be like, I can't support anything that he's part of, even if it's my favorite team. But I could also rest assured, at least based off NBA precedent, that they would force him to sell the team.
Right. Yeah.
So,
sure.
Yeah. So like if he just went on like a huge racist tirade or something, we know that he would get forced to sell the team eventually, which would be good. So, it's a plus. All right. Well, so let's move to our next question here. This comes from Jax365. First of all, I don't know if there's a second of all to this.
Yeah.
How many Knicks players will be at the FIBA World Cup starting in late August? So I did no prep for this. I think it would be kind of fun.
Yeah, let's do it.
To just try to do this blind, right? So we know
for any of these questions tonight.
So we know Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson are on Team USA,
and Grimes. I mean, I guess he's not going to be at the World Cup, but Grimes on the select team.
Grimes, which means he's going to help them practice,
right?
Which is cool.
Yeah.
RJ on Team Canada.
Fournier is still on the team. He'll be on Team France.
Oh yeah, shit.
RJ is on Team Canada.
Do the Knicks have does Hartenstein play for Germany?
Does Germany play in the World Cup?
They play. They have a team.
Yeah, but like, do they make the World Cup? Is what I'm saying.
I feel like the World Cup is the more inclusive one, and the Olympics is where you have to like use the World Cup to springboard into.
Let's
the Olympics.
see, FIBA World Cup team Germany. Okay. I'm looking at a team photo. I don't see Hartenstein, but let's look at the roster.
This is hard hitting journalism we're doing right now.
Okay, the roster, the German roster is Joshua Obisi, Len Skorman, Johannes Voigtman, Jonas Richter, Nelson Wiedemann, Jason George, Lucas. It's definitely pronounced Vonk, but it is spelled Wank, which is great. Justus Holatz, Gavin Schilling, Leon Kratzer, Kadem Jalo, and David Kramer. So no Hartenstein, but let's see. They did also announce a separate roster for the actual World Cup. So let's see if
the team really fell off once Dirk left, huh?
Yeah, it really did. Hartenstein is not on the team. That is shocking. Daniel Tice is on the team, and Dennis Bruder is on the team.
I mean, Hartenstein is. I'm pretty sure that he grew up in the U.S.
Yeah, but he has an accent.
Yeah, like a little bit. Like I think it was like his mom is German, or maybe his dad is like.
But the thing is, like, both the Wagners are on the. I mean, well, they did grow up in Germany, actually, didn't they? The Wagners are on the team. Maxi Kleba, which is just my favorite name for Mike Breen to say, is on the team. Just because he says Kleba every time, it's so
okay.
Great.
Maybe they didn't totally fall off then. That's not the worst.
Yeah, they got Maxi Kleba, they got Dennis Schroeder, they got Daniel Tice, and they got the Wagners.
I forgot about Schroeder too. Huh, yeah, that's kind of a squad.
It's not terrible.
That's not bad.
I don't know why Hartenstein's not on this team though. He must have obviously chosen not to play. Because
maybe he's
good enough to be on the team.
He's too busy back in the lab, you know.
Well, he just got married. Maybe he's going to be on his honeymoon.
That's true. I'd probably if it was like an imminent defeat in the
they're not
World Cup, playing for like my heritage country that I'm not really associated with, I'd be like, I'll take a honeymoon.
Yeah, I don't think like how far are they going to honestly make it? Even with like they have like a good starting lineup, but they have nobody. Actually, is Tice even going to start? Because can he start next to the Wagners? So like maybe. The point is they have at most like a sixth man if Tice is coming off the bench. So it's not really going to be a great team. Anyway, I think that's got to be it, right?
I think that's it because the rest of the guys are all American and none of them are on the team. So, all right, well there we go. We solved it. Yeah. Who do you think's going to have the best? I'll just warp the question a little bit. Who do you think's going to have the best FIBAs? Quick answer.
I mean, obviously Brunson.
Yeah, I think Brunson too.
Unless he doesn't start, which Steve Kerr already said he's going to start. So it doesn't really. Which all the Halliburton stands are very upset about. But
I'm really looking forward to a Brunson and Josh Hart led Team USA doing tons better than the Kemba, Tatum, and Brown led team the last time around. That's going to be
the thing is, like, he just built this roster in a very smart way. These guys are all going to play well, gel well together. So it's a good. They obviously should win, but they actually. I don't really see like this team, losing some randos by accident.
It reminds me of, I think it was the 2010 or 2012. I forget if it was a FIBA or an Olympic roster, but the one where they had Tyson Chandler and shit on it. And it was like, no, that makes a lot of sense.
That was the 2012 Olympic roster.
Yeah.
Which it was so funny because that roster, they tried to copy the Dream Team roster down to a T by bringing Anthony Davis on. Just because they had Christian Laettner on the Dream Team roster from college.
That one was 2008. That was
Anthony Davis was 2012.
Oh no, that was 2012. But they did that. I'm trying to think because they had
might have been on the 2010 FIBA team, but he was on the 2012 Olympic team.
Yeah, they had a college kid on the 2008 team too. I thought that was
I don't think
the redeem team. Or am I mistaken?
Hold on.
But yeah, they did do Anthony Davis on 2012. That's right, because that was right before his rookie year, and that was like the equivalent of Christian Laettner. But they also had Tyson Chandler, who definitely was not like an all-star.
Yeah, I mean that 2012 team was great.
They were really good. I mean, that was the one where Durant made his first appearance as one of the main players on the team and all that stuff too.
Well, and Melo was just it was like the of course ideal Melo because FIBA Melo was always just even better than he was in the NBA.
Yeah.
So they did not. No, the 2018 was Boozer, Kidd, LeBron, Darren Williams, Michael Redd, which is pretty funny. Dwayne Wade, Kobe, Dwight Howard, Bosh, Chris Paul, Tayshaun Prince, and Melo.
Yeah, that was a fun roster.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's move to our next question. Yeah, I think we talked enough about FIBA. Until next time. All right. Question from our buddy Zach ZMP323. If you could put another player's brain into RJ's body, who would you choose? I have a very obvious answer to this. I'm curious if you think the same thing, Matt. What do you think?
I also think I mean, I don't know if this is the obvious answer, but I had.
Do you want to do a 3, 2, 1 and say it?
Yeah, that'd be really fun to do the same play. Go ahead.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Jimmy Butler.
Oh, Jimmy Butler's good too. I think that was funny.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, he and Butler are almost even like built the same, like physical build wise. So you basically just, to me, that's like taking Butler's like brain out of his like old body and putting it into a younger body and being like, here you go, bud. Like,
I would love to
here's
see
a fresh
Butler's hair on RJ.
Jimmy Butler's changing hair.
Yeah, it would be great.
Put the dreadlocks on.
Butler's probably the better answer. I was just thinking like Paul George, because like if you could just make RJ play like Paul George, we wouldn't fucking need Paul George.
Yeah, pretty much.
He has all the skill to do it. He just doesn't.
I think in both cases, if you can make him play like Jimmy Butler too, you wouldn't need Paul George either.
No. I mean, look, and those are two of the best players of all time. So we're like really being a little glib about this, but
it said another player's brain, and that's the case. Those are two really good players.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you could just make RJ play like these two Hall of Famers, like,
but I think given his physical profile too, those two make sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's not like we didn't pick fucking LeBron.
Yeah, or saying like fucking if you could throw a Joel Embiid's brain,
right? Yeah, right.
RJ's body
would be terrible.
Yeah, he's just like why are my arms not long enough anymore? Why can't I reach over?
You know what would be worse than Joel Embiid, even though like obviously the height difference would make that funny. Putting James Harden's brain into his body, like just a fat RJ. I mean, he already like
RJ just shows up like with the bulging
30 pounds on his stomach.
Oh man, yeah, and yet then somehow loses it in like 5 seconds after the season.
Yeah, right.
Or after the season starts,
it's
or whatever.
Like who can't remember was a baseball or basketball player that did that all the time too. Just like use the season to get in shape.
I mean, Allen Iverson used to do that. He was never like fat, but he used to.
Right? Yeah.
Shaq used to do that, and then that really.
Shaq.
That's what caught up to Shaq late in his career is that he kept showing up way out of shape, and it's like, bro, you're like 37 now.
Heavier and heavier.
Yeah. You cannot show up this out of shape when you're like 37 years
old. It was Shaq that I was thinking of.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I think there was another player that was like that too. They used to like openly say like, I don't really like work out during the off season. I just like show up and start playing ball again.
I know that Keith Hernandez says all the time on Mets broadcast that he like just spent the whole offseason smoking cigarettes, and then like a week before spring training would work out a little bit. He was just like back in shape.
That was a different era, man.
Yeah, it was the 80s.
It was good times.
He just did a bunch of coke, and then he was, thin enough to play.
Yeah. It was, the 80s sound like a crazy time to be alive for athletes, celebrities, everything.
Yeah, seriously.
All right, let's move to our next question. This comes from Clyde Quickly. Similar vein, I guess. What star player's DNA, specifically which powers and strengths, is in Quickly, making him the one-man Avenger that he is? So I guess this is like mixing medium of nerdy crap with players. After you just mercilessly shit on Quickly and called him the worst player in the playoffs, what do you think about this?
He kind of was.
No, he was pretty bad.
It's
an unavoidable fact. I mean, I hope he does better, but it was an unavoidable fact. He was bad.
Well, I mean, you say it's an unavoidable fact. Some people avoided it.
Oh, it's definitely trying to be avoided by people. But it's unavoidable.
I feel like I want to stop making that joke though, because I feel like another group of people that I will not name doing that all the time. So I love all of our Strickland contributors. I just don't understand where they're coming from on some of this, but I respect our differences in opinion. Anyway, what star player's DNA I mean, honestly, like the tenacity, probably Jimmy Butler. Not they like at least on defense.
Yeah. Well, and just the overall commitment to his craft, I feel like is
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler-esque.
Yeah.
The at least theoretical shooting, step back shooting, whatever creation ability, I would say like if it reached its absolute apex, maybe like Lillard-esque. But I don't know. I think he's very far away from that at this particular moment.
Well, I think we could also like the point is like the DNA is in him doesn't mean that like he is because I was thinking like if we're just like going way over the top and joking about it like it's Kobe, but obviously he's never gonna get there.
Defense maybe like Beverly or Smart.
That's a good one. I think I like Beverly. I feel like he plays defense more like Beverly than Smart. I think.
Yes and no. I mean, he sort of doesn't do the two worst tendencies of both of those guys, which is like he plays like a cleaner version of those two because he doesn't do the bullshit flopping like Smart, but he also doesn't do the like fake macho tough guy bullshit that
that's true.
does.
Yeah, I was just thinking like he never flops, which is why like that's the first thing I think of when I think of Marcus Smart.
Those are like equally annoying offenses.
Yeah,
the macho shit versus the flopping. Like take your pick, they're both terrible. But yeah. So yeah, I think that's a good answer. Unless is there another skill? Passing? I don't know. His passing isn't like otherworldly. It's good, but I don't think it's like I'm not gonna be like he's like Steve Nash.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
But yeah, I think that's pretty good DNA. I think we only picked out a bunch of all-stars or like all defensive players, so no big deal.
I think we did this justice.
Yeah. All right, let's move to our next question. This comes from our buddy Schwinn. Who do you think is the most pretentious person in the strict court, and why is it James? It's obviously James.
Yeah, I mean, it is. And, James asked a question that we're not answering.
Yeah.
But I will say that in that question, which this just tickles me, he referred to the movie Les Samurai, which is, an old French film. And he spelled samurai wrong, and it's just so good.
I think the best part was he even edited the message and still spelled it wrong.
Oh, I didn't notice that. But you know what I respect? Because I wouldn't have put it past him to just edit it and say, what are you talking about? Is when I called him on it, he just accepted that I got him.
All right. Well, luckily there was a quick follow-up by Jax365 who said, following up on this question, if James is your first pick, who's your second pick? Now we got to get mean because now it's it's beyond the obvious.
Let's do this. I think, and I'm not even saying that any patron would come to mind. We love you all, but let's only keep it to staff members.
Oh, obviously, I think that was the intention.
No, it says in the strict court. So
I know, but I think the intention was mostly among.
Well, the point is we're not going to obviously.
Okay.
We love you all, everyone who pays us money. Okay, so who's it's Dallas.
You think Dallas? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, Dallas has a lot of strong opinions about stuff.
Dallas, which I don't even know if this is pretension as much as that. And I'm sorry I'm blowing up his spot here, but because I don't know how public this opinion is, but Dallas thinks that movies are useless.
I'm pretty sure he said that in the Discord as well.
He might have. I don't, but he also could have just said it in Slack, before we had the Discord. I don't know. But Dallas thinks that movies are useless because they only have 2 hours to tell a story. So TV can tell the story way better, which is just an insane opinion to hold.
Yeah, it's I've watched more movies than usual recently, and I'm like, I forgot how awesome movies can be compared to like TV shows.
Yeah, they're pretty great.
Yeah, plenty of great ways to tell a great story in
but
2
also
3
like
hours.
Yeah, and like you don't need a whole TV season or series to tell.
You can even tell a great story. A lot of movies, especially like during the 90s and stuff, were only like an hour and a half long.
Yeah,
and they were good.
Yeah.
Like sometimes you would be wanting for more, but it would tell the story it wanted to, and get all the points across and everything.
So I mean, that's not a pretentious. That's just a stupid opinion, not a pretentious opinion. But I mean, Dallas would totally agree with us here. He can be pretty hoity-toity. Is there anyone else that comes to mind?
I can't really think of anyone. James just is so head and shoulders above the competition.
Yeah. Honestly, it's not even fair to Dallas to put him in the discussion with James.
No,
Or really
it's
fair
not.
to James. honestly, to put Dallas in discussion with James.
James is built different.
Yeah.
James built different. By the way, James asked some like, why do you like Marvel movies questions? You know, and it's like, James, we haven't talked about them in literally.
I mean, we're going to talk about Marvel today, but
well, only because we were asked to. Like, we haven't unpromped talked about that shit in a while. Like, anyway, all right, moving to our next question. This comes from Stacy Patton. What will be higher this season, RJ's 3-point percentage or minutes per game?
Oh boy,
spicy.
Was it high? See, like this is prep I should have done. What was it higher?
His minutes per game was higher this past year.
It was.
Oh, absolutely.
Was it? Has it been?
I know that without even looking at it, but I'm gonna look at it anyway just to make sure. Let me pull it up here. RJ Barrett. He had 33.9 minutes per game, 31% from three.
Tough. He has only so his rookie year it was 30.4 and a 32, so that was close, but in favor of 3-point percentage. Blew it out of the water his second year when he shot 40% from three. Then
narrow defeat.
Ago, it was basically even. It was 34.5 and 34.2.
No, narrow defeat. There's no, close only matters in horseshoes and hand grenades.
And then it was just a rout in this past season, 31% and almost 34 minutes a game. I mean, okay, so I gotta hope it's gonna be. I don't think he'll shoot as badly from three as he did last year again.
I think the shooting percentage will be higher, but only because because of the addition of DiVincenzo and everything, he'll be playing closer to 30 minutes.
Which is, that's fine. I mean, he should. I don't really. The fact is, like, RJ has not been good enough to be playing 34 minutes a game for a team that's going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, exactly.
So 30 minutes a game, probably fine. I do think he'll get it back up to around 34% though, and he's probably not going to play that many minutes a game. So, 34% still not great, but less disastrous than 31.
Yeah, I mean, if he could shoot 34, 35% and still get inside and draw fouls as much as he does, that's fine.
Yeah,
because Randall shot 35% this year, but but
he got so many that
he got enough respect from there too. Eventually, that teams paid attention to him. So if RJ can at least shoot 35%, get the respect of teams out there, then that'll be a big boon for him, I think.
Yeah. Well, and he's just going to take fewer shots probably too, because he's going to play a lot of his minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how it's going to go.
Yeah. This will be interesting. It's a weird. I'm honestly I don't care, but I'm honestly shocked that this is the rotation they're going to the season with. It's just a kind of odd nine.
I don't think they're totally done yet, if I'm being honest.
I just don't know what else they're gonna do before the season.
I think they're gonna sign a actual backup power forward because Tibbs is.
Yeah, but where are they gonna go 10 deep then? Tibbs doesn't want to go 10 deep.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I think Tibbs would go 10 deep if he felt like he had a team that he could with. And I think they would just need to drill into him. Look, if we're going to give you a 10th player, you can't do the hockey shift thing.
Right. Yeah.
That's
the other thing. Yeah.
That was the biggest thing. It was Tibbs's biggest huge revelatory decision was essentially just taking away his one worst tactic that he did.
Yeah.
But you can still survive with a 10-man rotation if you have someone that's a 5 to 10 minute per game player in there. They don't all have to be 20 minute per game guys.
No, that's true. He just doesn't really seem interested in that. It feels everyone has to play we played 16 minutes a game. Everyone has to play at least 16. No one can play less than 16 minutes. Which, doesn't make any sense. You can have a fucking 8-minute player.
Exactly. If it was up to me, I keep bringing this guy's name up, but I think I already said him in the first part of the show too. But that was yesterday, so I don't remember. JaMychal Green, I would sign in a second and just be here's
you never have today. Yeah.
He can go out there, he can shoot threes, he can rebound. He's a little bigger than Josh Hart or something. If you need that, play him 8 minutes a game and play hard at the 4 for some stretches of the game as well, and call that your strategy. That way you're ready for every scenario. So if there is a game where you feel JaMychal Green is going to be better for us, at least he's warm and he's played with the team in real game scenarios, and it's not just throwing some fucking dude out there and being like, figure it out.
I think also they're going to have to, maybe not at the deadline, but like I know they're trying to wait around for the star trade, but they have to consolidate assets at some point.
Yeah. And it's gonna be the star trade, like whether that's this offseason, the trade deadline, or next offseason. Next offseason, I feel like is the hard out.
That's what I was trying to get at. Sorry. They can't wait until summer 2024 is put up or shut up. You just can't keep kicking the can down the road after that.
Yeah, like because then then it starts becoming like, well, now we have too many of the good number deals that normally are the building block, but now we don't have the smaller contract, like because they've refused to draft anybody for the last 2 years.
Which is fine. I'm fine with that.
It's fine.
Consolidate within the next year.
It's fine as long as they consolidate within the next year, because if they don't, then it's like, all right, congrats, guys. Like now you don't have any small salaries to make these deals work. Like now you're gonna have to work some weird ass calculations to make this work, to include like both RJ and Quickly or whatever, who now make a combined like $45 million or whatever. Now it's going to be a little harder to make this all work, and in general, just like not.
What I'm worried about is that Giannis will not ask out next summer, but the summer after, and the Knicks just won't be able to wait for that.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Like,
there's nothing you can do about it. The timing just sucks, but like you just can't wait until 2025 hoping that Giannis asks out.
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully, like Giannis would, if he truly is like, I think I'm going to want out of Milwaukee, he probably knows that by now anyway. And hopefully he just wouldn't drag his feet and would just be like,
I just don't know.
But it depends. Like if it's the Knicks that he really wants to go to, he would have to just like firmly be like, this is where I want to go.
Yeah. The problem is like what you want there, and they can do that, like tampering, whatever. They do this shit all the time. You have to get like back channel word to Giannis, like, hey, if this is where you want to be, you have to ask out now, because like we can't wait until 25.
Well, and if anyone can do that, it's Leon Rose, because Mr. fucking,
Worldwide West is gonna like leave a freaking note in Giannis's.
Worldwide West is just gonna randomly, it's gonna be like Worldwide West has been fired from the Knicks, and then like 2 months later, be like Worldwide West is back. Like we changed our minds.
Giannis gonna hire him as like an agent, and then he'll just like Giannis will fire him, and he'll go right back to the Knicks.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, oh, Worldwide West is working as a consultant for Giannis, and then 2 months later, it's like, oh, Giannis fired him, and now he's back with the Knicks. Oh, Giannis wants on the Knicks. Like, look at that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. That it is really funny though. Initially, like that was the plan for Worldwide West, is he wasn't going to be on the books, and I think that literally like the Knicks probably floated that by like the NBA front office.
And they were just like, no.
And they were like, fuck no. Like you're hiring him. Like if you're gonna have fucking Leon Rose, you're gonna hire him too, and he's on the books. We're not gonna deal with that. Like that's
no, I do remember that. That was like when that article came out about them hiring Rose, like the big thing was they're not hiring West.
Well, and it was like Worldwide West will, closely consult Leon Rose as he does this, but will not be hired by the Knicks.
Right. I guarantee Adam Silver called up Dolan and was like, you cannot do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it was essentially going to be their attempt to create a no tamper pass.
Oh, for sure.
They're part of like, you will never be charged for tampering.
Yeah. I think that's exactly what they were up to. But unsurprisingly, it didn't work, because that's ridiculous that they even were going to try that. All right.
Let's move to our next question though, since we've gone so far off the rails here. I don't know how the fuck we got that far off that. The initial question was RJ's 3-point percentage or minutes.
Well, because we were talking about RJ's minutes, and then I said the rotation. We started talking about the rotation and how they need a 10th guy, and then
you don't need to actually explain it. I was just saying shit. You don't need to mansplain this to me, okay? Calm down.
All right. First of all, what, you watched Barbie one time and now you're
I actually haven't even watched it yet.
I saw it the other night. It was really good.
I hear that. I want to watch that, and I want to watch Oppenheimer really fucking bad.
I haven't seen Oppenheimer yet, which I really need to do soon, because
aren't all the showings in New York booked till like October?
Well, and I want to see it in IMAX. So like,
that's what I'm saying.
Going to not see it in IMAX. Well, so the showings at the IMAX Lincoln Square, which has the 70 millimeter film, those are booked like literally until like October. I can, unless I want to sit in the fucking front row, which is not worth it.
Zach said that's what he did for Barbie, and it was not fun.
Yeah, it's not. Well, Barbie, I didn't see Barbie in like premium format. I just went and saw it in a normal format. But Oppenheimer, I could probably get tickets for the next week or two to see Oppenheimer in IMAX at like, at the 34th Street Theater near me or whatever. But I do need to see it soon, and so do you, because our next pod is the movie pod.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody, start thinking about your questions, because we're ranking Nolan movies, and we have a twist on it this year, which I will not reveal yet, but it's going to be fun.
The twist is that whoever's list is voted the worst is going to get strapped to Nolan's nuclear bomb that he secretly made and didn't get to detonate for Oppenheimer, but we're going to detonate it.
Yeah, that's what's happening.
That's what's going to happen. Can you? We'll talk about this more on the pod, I'm sure, after we've all seen the movie, but it was ridiculous that he literally wanted to make an atomic bomb for that movie and set it off. He was like, can I just make a little one? Come on. Like, guys, just let me make like a little one.
I mean, I know the whole Cold War was precipitated with 50 years of terror that a nuclear bomb is going to go off, but can I just like set a little one off?
Can I just do one like in the desert again?
I want authenticity.
Yeah, nobody will know. Nobody will know. Don't even bring it up.
I won't radiation poison more than like 12 people, I promise.
Yeah. I'll only make a small portion of the U.S. desert, unwalkable for a while.
Oh, geez.
Anyway, all right, let's move to our next question. We're moving into a little bit of Mets talk here, the end of the sports talk. Dude or Adam wants to know, I'm going to read this question as it was phrased. It was before the trade deadline, technically. But it was funny. So now that the trade deadline has passed, please let Matt go off about Verlander being moved to the Braves. If he gets moved anywhere else, replace this question with got any gum. I refuse to replace it with Stingy's got any gum question. No. So let's just react to the Mets trade deadline in general. I freaking loved it. And honestly, you and I were talking about Verlander and like whether the Mets should trade him or not. And you were like, I think they should keep him because then they're going to have to replace him next year. I'm honestly like, at this point, if Cohen is fine just spending $1 gazillion every year and then potentially even sending these guys off, paying basically their whole salary and just getting prospects back that give them the opportunity to potentially like trade for a bigger star at some point down the line. Like, I was fine with this strategy. I thought they freaking killed it. They added what, like 7 guys that'll probably be in their top 20 prospects now.
Let's see. Gilbert, Clifford, Vargas, Hernandez, Acuna, Jarvis probably, and then I think probably one of the guys they got for Escobar all the way back in May, whenever that was, is in their top 20. So Crow. So that's 7. Did I miss any trades? Oh, the guy they got for Pham is probably, he's like not even in America yet. He's 17, still in his home country. So I don't know if he'll be ranked in their top 20, but he like has some upside too.
Sick. Yeah, I mean, I think they crushed it. So I don't know. Do you feel any different? I mean, obviously the season sucked, but I got a real amount of satisfaction out of finally seeing the Mets actually make the smart move and fire sale for once, rather than being like, let's just strap a rocket to this sinking ship and see if it floats, like it's.
And look, sometimes that works. They did that in 2015 and they got the World Series.
It worked once successfully. It was not going to fucking work this year. They are such a different situation this year. The
2015 team was a young and up and coming team that immediately fucking biffed it over the next few years because the Wilpons are idiots. But, theoretically that team should have been good for a number of years. This team is like full of, has a young-ish core, but it's full of, veterans. Like, it wasn't going anywhere. This was the right decision. So just quickly to give some background on why Adam even asked this question this way. He asked this question at 11:30 this morning. At like 11 a.m., there was a rumor that the Braves were trying to get Verlander, and I literally said in the baseball chat in Discord that I don't care who the Braves are willing to trade. If the Mets trade Verlander to the Braves, I will literally scream and probably die. So that's why I can't imagine being any angrier than the Mets trading Verlander. Like, they could literally, I don't care. I know this is ridiculous. I don't care if they traded back Ronald Acuna. I would be furious. Just giving the Braves a player they wanted would make me so angry that I couldn't even think straight. But
And just dealing in division, that's just so shitty in baseball. You don't
well,
do
they
that.
dealt Robertson to the Marlins, which is less of a big deal. But
Right, but the Marlins don't really count. They're
but
like,
also it's like it's just a closer. Who the fuck cares?
yeah,
I
the
mean, I would be
Marlins just exist. You know what I mean? They're
well,
fine,
that
whatever.
and like I obviously would be angry if they dealt Robertson to the Braves. Like I just hate the Braves so much.
Yeah.
I like more than the Philly. I hate the Phillies the second most, but like I hate the Braves more than the Phillies.
I think I hate them in order. I might hate the Phillies slightly more. I think I would say Phillies, Braves, like high up there, and then slight step down Nationals, and then
yeah.
like in the
Marlins just don't
in
care
a
about
different country, the Marlins.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about.
I mean, the Marlins are only ever an annoying. Like, yeah, in 2007 and 2008, both years, the Marlins just like are a big reason why the Mets blew it. But that's really on the Mets. Like, I'm not gonna. The Marlins were just irritating. Yeah, the Nats. Like, the only thing about the Nats is like it was like a 3-year period, 2015 to 2017, where like the Nats were the worst rival. So like they're clearly a heavy step down because otherwise they have not been relevant to what the Mets are doing. It's obviously Phillies Braves at the top. I just still have the Braves over the Phillies.
I think you know what one player by himself makes the Phillies higher for me?
I don't.
Legacy player, not someone who's currently active.
Rollins.
No, close.
Utley.
Chase Utley. Yeah, I
good.
fucking hate that guy.
I actually like Jimmy Rollins. I don't mind him.
Rollins was fine. I despise Chase Utley.
Chase Utley he broke Ruben Hana's leg. I know he wasn't
Yeah.
on the Phillies anymore, but he broke Ruben Hana's leg.
It really annoys me that he's made 2 really funny Always Sunny cameos now.
He is really funny in Always Sunny though.
He's both times has been hilarious, and it makes me so angry because I'm like, I hate you with such a burning passion. I don't even want to laugh at this.
I know
it is really funny.
I just can't stand that he's put up as like this. Oh, he plays the game the right way. He fucking broke a player's leg in the playoffs.
Yeah, he was literally like a fucking scumbag, absolute scumbag.
And that's not the first time he did shit like that.
No, he did that stuff all the time. He was always trying to like look for shortcuts, like run into people and like fuck people up and whatever.
If he were not white, people would not say that shit about him.
Probably not. Yeah.
Anyway, I didn't actually answer the question. I am thrilled. I did not want to trade Verlander, as you know, Alex. But if they were going to do it, getting a top 50 prospect and another top 100 prospect who's like fucking rocketing up the top 50 and might be in the top. I mean, rocketing up the charts and might be in the top 50 by the time spring comes around. Pretty hard to complain. I mean, that's basically what I said when I was. I don't know if I told you this, but like when I talked to other people about trading Verlander, I said like, look, if they get an offer they can't turn down, I think obviously you have to trade him. I just think it's very risky because, like you mentioned, they now have to replace his innings next year and Scherzer's innings and Carrasco's innings. Not that Carrasco's innings are very good, but like those are innings that do need to be replaced by someone. I mean, my thought was that I wasn't sure, as much as money as Steve Cohen's willing to spend, I wasn't sure if he was going to want to spend money on Scherzer and Verlander to play elsewhere while also spending money on good enough pitchers to like replace them in kind. But my thought is, if they did this, that probably is their intention. I don't give a shit what Epler is saying to the media or what he told Scherzer to get him to waive his no trade clause. Like, come on. He had to get Scherzer to waive his no trade clause. Of course, he's going to say whatever the hell he needs to say to him to get him to waive it. So, like, I mean, if he thought he had to tell Scherzer they wouldn't be good again until 2045, that's what he would have told him. He wanted to trade him. And I'm sure he told Verlander the same thing. He told Max, oh, we might not be good until 2026 because that's right after Scherzer's contract ends. So, of course, Scherzer wouldn't want to be on the team when that happens. Same thing with Verlander's. Scherzer's contract is up after next year, but so he said 25 or 26. I guarantee he said to Verlander, yeah, I told Max 25, but it really might be more like 26, Justin. Oh, you're not going to be on the team in 26. It's – I don't believe anything he's saying, which not in a bad way, but number one, like David Stearns is going to be his boss next year. And number two, it doesn't really matter what he says. It matters what the Mets do. And the fact is they've been saying since Steve Cohen took over that they're going to be conservative and like try to just like strike when necessary in free agency. And then they go do crazy shit. So why is anyone listening now? They say this all the time, probably number one, to get other owners off Steve Cohen's back. And number two, to like not reveal their strategy. But I am pretty confident that they're going to sign Yoshinobu Yamamoto, who's like the best pitcher in Japan and coming over this year. Cohen's gonna try to give Ohtani $700 million. He might not take it. He might take less money from the Dodgers. Nothing you can do if that happens. They're probably going to sign someone like Blake Snell. I would like Jordan Montgomery, who's like a really solid mid-rotation pitcher. You sign those 3 guys, sign a left fielder, sign a DH. That team's going to be good again next year. Like, maybe it won't be a 100-win team, but I don't care. Like, just
be good again.
Just be good again. And they probably will. So, like, this was. I mean, they went from having like legitimately a bottom 5 farm system to now possibly a top 10 farm system in a week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I don't think anyone can complain about this. It sucks that this happened this way. Obviously, I wish that like Scherzer and Verlander were pitching in the playoffs in October for the Mets. They're going to be pitching in the playoffs in October for other teams instead. That's unfortunate, but we can't do anything about that. So, like, given the situation, this is what you were saying about Ballmer before, and you like hinted at this being the opposite of what Cohen did, which is right. Like, Cohen recognized, or Epler, whoever did it, but Cohen agreed to go this way. Recognized this wasn't working. This team was not going to be good. Like, how is this team going to be good next year if they didn't trade these guys?
They'd have too much money and everything tied up to then make like you can't really then make an offer for like Ohtani next year.
Well, you can, but like you can only make an offer for Ohtani.
Pretty much.
If you have like, it's not even about the money as much as the actual players. If you have Verlander and Scherzer still on this team, you can't sign Ohtani and Yamamoto.
Yeah, and then like Scherzer was straight up like butt cheeks already, and
he was clearly he's toast.
And Verlander was showing signs early in the season that maybe he was headed that direction, and then corrected course. But he's showing that he's mortal at this point too. So like, if you can get off them, and they paid for all the rest of their salary this year, and like it seems like about half their salary for next year. Roughly.
For Scherzer, they paid like what they did for Scherzer was like 2/3 each of the next 2 years. Yeah, and for Verlander, they did half, something like that. I don't know. It's very confusing, but
so either way, I mean, like money wise, cool. Yeah. They're paying a lot, but like not so much that they can't go like spend money on other players.
Right. Well, and
like, it doesn't count against their like luxury tax that way either.
It does. The money they sell them does count against it. But Ken Rosenthal had an article after they traded Scherzer, and this just goes double for trading Verlander. That Cohen's actually saving money because he owes so much luxury tax money by like, even though he's still paying them to be on other teams, because he's not paying their full salaries, he's saving money by doing this.
Yeah. So there you go.
So, but the big thing for me is, again, like, not as much the money as, and I didn't think about it this way when I was saying trading Verlander, as the players themselves. Mm-hmm. Like, you can't, if Scherzer's going to be like a 4.5 ERA guy, but you can't replace him next year. He's going to be on the team still. So then you're just stuck with him like as a number 5 caliber starter, but they're treating him like a number 2.
Mm-hmm.
So now, like, they're off the team. Okay, they're paying them. Cohen doesn't give a shit about that money.
Yeah, now at least they're out of sight, out of mind, not having to deal with. I mean,
he's been saying he considers that money already spent, and like, I believe that because he doesn't care. Like, he really does not care about this money. He's like, I signed Verlander to an 86, well, really like $115 million contract, and Scherzer to a $130 million contract. Well, that money's gone. So any money I'm getting back from the Rangers and Astros is money that I now showed up out of nowhere in his money.
Yeah. All right. So I have to just this will, I guess, close out the Mets segment, but I have to note, number one greatest part of this trade is that the Mets got Drew Gilbert, whose Twitter is apparently Gilly Goobear.
I didn't know that. That's great. Yeah, I love that.
His Twitter name is Gilly Goobear. I learned that while I was just looking at all of them on the top prospects while you were talking.
I also love that Clifford. I don't know if you saw this, but Ryan Clifford changed his Instagram profile picture like within seconds of the
nice
of the trade. Not even the trade being announced, but of like the trade breaking. Whenever like whoever had it first
already changed it to Mets.
Yeah, he was like, "Yeah, fuck this, I'm a Met now.
Let's fucking go, baby." Yeah. What was which one of them? It was it was either Clifford or Gilly Goobear that got called Logan, right? By
it was Logan Gilbert, because Logan Gilbert's there is a player named Logan Gilbert. So Bob Nightingale, who is the biggest boob like of all time, constantly makes mistakes. We were joking all day in baseball chat in the Discord, which you could have been a part of if you pay $6 a month to the Patreon. it was a very lively baseball chat today on the trade deadline day. We were joking in baseball chat all day that like anytime Bob tweeted something, it was just wrong. And yeah, he tweeted about Logan Gilbert, who is like not Drew Gilbert. He's fully a major league player that's not on the Astros. And he also like did the math wrong on the Verlander number. He was like, the Mets are paying $54 million, which means the Astros owe $29 million, but that's not, the Astros owe $39 million. So he just did the math wrong. He's wrong about shit all the time, which is very funny. And his profile picture on Twitter, if you don't know who this is like he's probably like 70, but his profile picture on Twitter is like 20 years old, and it's like the grainiest photo of all time.
Big time bourbon energy.
Yeah, it's so good. So anyway, I love this deadline. I honestly, it's not an A+ because, like, you know, I don't know. I think I wish ideally that Verlander was traded to the Orioles because they have better prospects, so the Mets would have gotten a better haul even. But you know, I'm quibbling.
Yeah. I think it was a very successful trade deadline for the Mets. This brings us to another question though, that loosely involves the Mets here. Jax365, and this is our bridge into nerd chat. Jax365 wants to know, what's the biggest disappointment? Secret Invasion, the 2023 Mets season, or the 2023 Yankees season? I think, unfortunately, thanks to it being the biggest budget, it's the biggest budget blockbuster, therefore the biggest flop. It was the Mets season.
I mean, it's actually, you'd be shocked to know that Secret Invasion's budget is close.
Yeah, it's probably pretty close. Yeah,
which is insane.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, here's the thing. By expectation versus,
I was gonna say, let's just mostly keep this just keep it to Yankees Mets for now, because I'm about to tee you up for Secret Invasion.
Well, I was going to answer Secret Invasion, and here's why, and I won't explain anything about Secret Invasion yet, but the reason I'm picking Secret Invasion is because even though the Mets flopped ass real hard, they did cut their losses when they needed to.
and Secret
Invasion just got worse. That finale, and I know you haven't watched it yet, so this is what you're in store for. The finale of Secret Invasion is one of the worst things I've ever watched. I like barely got through it. It was terrible. It had, and he would totally cop to this. G-Baked he loves, like, he really, you know, always is very positive about this stuff, which is great. I wish I could be as positive as he is about like Marvel and Star Wars shit. And he came out of Secret Invasion finale being like, that was shit. That was awful. What the fuck? So I was like, oh my God.
They finally broke it.
G-Bake pissed off. But, you know, for the same reason I made that point about the Mets, there's an argument the Yankee season is worse because they are not going to make the playoffs. And what did they do?
That's true. That's true. In the end, I guess, like, if you consider what they accomplished or didn't, I mean, the Yankees literally didn't do anything at the deadline.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I know this Mets season has been sucky. It's going to be suckier, probably. But honestly, the suckiest thing would be if they go on a run now, which seems impossible with the pitchers they have left. But, you know, you never know, I guess.
I mean, no, if they go on a run now it's just kind of like.
Well, the problem is they're not going to make the playoffs. So, like,
whatever. It's like pure fun then, because it would mean that like all the young players and shit would be like fucking balling out.
Yes, like, but what we need is for them to drop into the bottom 6 in the draft, because then they don't get a pick penalty.
Oh, I didn't know that was a thing. You're such a baseball nerd compared to me, so I didn't even know that. Never mind. Fuck that. I want them to lose all the rest.
Yeah, they got a tank for their payroll because their payroll's so high. They get penalized 10 spots in their pick. It happened this year too already. They have to go down from 22 to 32. So next year they're going down 10 spots unless they have a top 6 pick.
Okay, never mind. Tank away. Let's go.
They got a tank.
Fire up the tank.
Yeah. Look,
Alonso and Lindor.
Yeah.
They need some phantom injuries the rest of the year.
Honestly, like, Alonso looks fine now, but like McNeil has sucked.
Yeah.
He's said shit all season about his wrists. Like, put him on the IL. Why is he playing? Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, well, especially at this point now. Now the towel is thrown in. Like, just do it.
Let's see if Mark Madden can play second base. He can't. It's going to be awful, but guess what? We'll find out.
Call up fucking Mauricio.
Well, they don't want to call him up. They don't think he's ready. But
I don't care. It doesn't matter if he's ready.
No,
You're
I
tanking.
agree. I think they should just call him up and find out if
Let
he's
him
good
take
or
his
not.
lumps, man.
The thing is, he's probably going to suck, which would be great because
Yeah.
they got to lose. So,
Yeah. Anyway, we're talking too much Mets on this.
yeah,
fucking
sorry.
Mets
We can
podcast.
move on.
All right, let's move to the next question. This comes from Zan Rosen, VORP supremacist, another buddy of ours that we got to hang out with in person at one time at a Strickland
that was
meetup. Zan wants to know, why does Marvel suck now, and how bad was Secret Invasion? I want to stick to the first part first, having not watched Secret Invasion yet, because we could debate that first, if Marvel sucks now or not, and then I'll throw it to you, and I'll take my earbud out so that I don't hear Secret Invasion stuff.
Let me answer this half first.
Yeah.
That way we can talk about this, and then when we're going to move on Secret Invasion, then that way you don't have to miss my.
That's true, because there's another question right after this. I'll just ask right now. Jackster65 also wants to know, which part of Secret Invasion made you the most angry. So we'll get into that in a sec, and I'll literally just let you monologue for a second. Once I hear you're not talking anymore, I'll jump back in.
Sounds good.
But like, why does Marvel suck? I don't know that Marvel sucks now. I think that they're just sort of like, they've had their hits and misses since Endgame, and I think that they have a fan base that is sort of chasing the high of Endgame still, and what that represented, and how fucking epic like Infinity War and Endgame were, and all that shit. I also think that they've had a real hard time establishing a big bad this time around, which the first time around they did such a great job of setting up minor big bads that then led into bigger big bads. Like it was like Loki was the first like minor big bad, but then he led into the real big bad of Thanos, and then like you even had Ultron in there, which was a good like one-off. It just feels like those have not been.
You know what it was more than that, and I'll let you keep going. I just want to integrate this one brief thing before you finish. The Infinity Stones showing up starting in Captain America, the first Captain America movie, even though they didn't call them as that until after. I think they really didn't even refer to them that way until maybe Thor: The Dark World. But the Infinity Stones being there from the beginning, even though you didn't see Thanos until briefly in the first Avengers movie, like, was a better connective tissue in this multiverse shit.
Yeah, because that's the other thing is like, Infinity Stones are like tangible objects that you can like point back to and be like, I remember when that showed up. Whereas like the multiverse stuff, it's sort of like they're obviously laying the foundation for a crazy giant multiverse confrontation with Kang in those movies, but in the Avengers movies that will eventually be coming, but like just being like, oh, all these multiverse exists. It's not the same feeling of being like, oh fuck, I remember when that stone showed up in fucking Thor, and that movie kind of sucked, but I want to go back and watch it now again and see the reality stone in that again, like, because that was fucking crazy. That they planted that seed so far in advance.
Well, look at what they did with Endgame. Endgame, the second act of Endgame is them literally returning to the old movies. Just to show you how tied together everything was.
And how many movies everything showed up in, and like, and them even being like, oh wait, we've seen all these things, but here's like 3 connective points that we can go back to where they're at least all in the same general vicinity, which then also considers the scope of the movie or all the movies, which is like crazy to think about too. But yeah, that's sort of their biggest issue right now. And also, like, I am glad that like since Iger came back to Disney, that they're going to a more quality over quantity approach. Because I was mostly enjoying all the Disney Plus shows and stuff, but it did start to feel like a bit much. And now we're finally seeing, like, at first I thought everything was still quality for a while. Like, like WandaVision, whatever you think about the plot and stuff, like the visuals were top notch. Like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they did a good job of like sort of spreading the CGI budget out and doing a lot of practical effects and stuff. Like that looked cool. Similar to like Winter Soldier or something like that. Like Captain America, Winter Soldier, to be clear. And then like, like most of the shows were looking pretty good, and then all of a sudden the last like year or so, like, I loved She-Hulk, but like the CGI seemed like it was taking a step back. Like a lot of people.
The problem is, it was like the main character was a CGI character, and she was mostly in She-Hulk form.
Exactly. So that like scaled down the CGI there, and then like even you see it, look, I think I thought the Ant-Man was better than most people think, but like a lot of people rightfully harped on like,
I'm with you. I liked it better than a lot of people did.
But like a lot of people were like like visual wise, it was not nearly as impressive as Marvel movies used to be. And it's like, I kind of agree with that. Like they're clearly spreading their VFX studios too thin, and it finally started to sort of. This is the year that it all has kind of like come to a head. But yeah, I think they were just trying to tell too many stories too fast in an effort to build this giganto multiverse and this giganto Avengers team that they want for the next Avengers
But
movie.
who's
Also,
on the Avengers right now? We have no fucking idea who's on the Avengers right now.
right, but that's because like they haven't had them like assemble in a while.
right.
You know what I mean? But they're obviously building towards an eventual grand assembling of all these heroes. But I also think another big part of the franchise in general struggling is Chadwick Boseman dying. Honestly, like
100%, which is unfortunate.
the dude was going to be the fucking pillar. Like him and Tom Holland were going to be the pillars, like going forward. And I think that when he died, that left him really scrambling of like, fuck.
Yeah,
fuck,
I mean,
like,
Coogler had written the whole. He had written the whole movie, Black Panther 2, and it was still Namor was still going to be the villain, but like it was a totally different story, and it's just it's unfortunate. I mean, obviously very sad in general, but like it sucks for this specifically. Yeah,
I was gonna say, I guess lastly, the last thing that I'll say about why Marvel has been kind of sucking lately, it really fucking sucks when you introduce these like kind of cool, kind of compelling characters, and then these fucking actors are getting accused of domestic violence and everything else.
Yeah.
Like they now have two of their, I mean, Namor, the actor who plays Namor, and whose name is escaping me at this particular.
It's Thanos Huerta.
Yes. And fucking Jonathan Majors both facing pretty heavy fucking allegations.
And I hate the like, oh well, they couldn't have known. Okay, first of all, I think just putting art and artist separately for a second, Jonathan Majors is an amazing actor. But there have been stories going around for years, apparently, about him being a fucking asshole lunatic.
Yeah, even if not like an abuser, like just a dick.
At least maybe wonder about that if like everybody fucking hates working with him, except apparently Michael B. Jordan loved working with him. And look, I love Michael B. Jordan. He can do no wrong. But obviously not everyone gets the same like view of a person.
And Creed 3 was really good. I did.
And Creed 3 was great. Yeah. And same thing with Huerta, though. Apparently that was out there, like that he had abused this woman, and they didn't find that. I mean, like they didn't look hard. They didn't find that because they didn't want to find that. It's just which because also Huerta also a great actor. Namor was fucking excellent. He was probably the best part of that movie, and which was really good. I love Wakanda Forever, but it's just, and by the way, no one said shit about Huerta, so he's probably just coming right back as Namor. I think they're just going to hope that gets swept under the rug. But I think also they're going to hope that Majors gets swept under the rug and they can just keep having to be Kang, which is unfortunate.
I mean they're
doing at this point.
Yeah, I'm sure their biggest hope with Majors, unfortunately, is just that they settle out of court and he pays this person off, and that's it. And then
Loki,
they just pretend that it never happened.
I don't know. Did you see the trailer for Loki season 2?
I just heard that Jonathan Majors is like all fucking over it.
Well, you see a statue with his face on it. You only see him in person once, but you see a statue with his face on it. Like he's obviously in the season, which they filmed it before this came out. Not much they can do. Like they can't fucking take him out of that story. Unfortunately, there's really nothing they can do about that. But his trial or his arraignment maybe is in August. Something's happening with this case in August because his trial would be too soon. Something's happening with this case in August, and Loki's coming out in October. From what I read, they're just like crossing their fingers that he'll be exonerated in August, and through this evidence they're going to present at this hearing, and they can just say, "Oh, we don't have to recast him," which is fucked up. Because, again, even if he didn't do this, which honestly maybe he didn't, it would be. I always come from a place of like we need to believe the women, but it seems like in this case it is possible that he didn't do it. And we'll find out. But if he didn't, he still seems like a piece of shit. So, like, they're just hoping that he swept this under the rug. Like, they can sweep this under the rug.
And it's kind of hard coming from. They really did have, like, Marvel really lucked out that all the people that they had all the way through Endgame, pretty squeaky clean.
Yeah.
Like, Robert Downey Jr. had his demons in the past or whatever, but, like, clearly was past them. And, like, Iron Man was, like, his real life redemption story, too. Of like really like resuscitating his career and everything. And then like every other person, like Chris Evans, Chris Hemsworth, they're all just like eat clean, fucking family men, like fucking social activists, like all in all, like good dudes. Like every single one of them, is never had a fucking problem, at least that I can recall. And then now to go to like where it's like, oh, fuck. Like now to even just having the smallest bit of question, it's such a slippery slope when you're talking about like people that are in movies that we enjoy, but that are also like aimed towards kids, where you're going to eventually have kids potentially treating these guys as role models and shit. Like it's a little tough. It's tough to sort of reconcile that, even if they ultimately get found like not guilty of things or whatever. If there's still stuff out there that they're like huge assholes or whatever, it's kind of,
or like you can be found not guilty. And I want to be clear, because I don't want anyone to think what I was saying before about majors is like, well, sometimes I'm not saying sometimes women lie. Like the statistics, even if you want to like go the statistics show that women do not report. Like you should assume in every case that the woman is telling the truth, because it is very hard to go report a rape and or an assault, whatever, and like seek justice for it. It's not fucking easy. So that said, sometimes they might find that the evidence doesn't support her claim in this case, which doesn't actually mean that he didn't do it, by the way. It just means that they couldn't prove it. And it would be especially fucked up if Marvel's just like, well, I couldn't prove it, too bad. But that seems like what they're hoping for.
Yeah. And I mean, like, think about like, the U.S. justice system is far from perfect. Fucking, according to the eyes of the U.S. justice system, O.J. Simpson was not guilty too, but fucking.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So, like, again, I just want to be clear about that before I move on to answering this question. Like, it is a nightmare for women to like seek retribution for sexual assault, for physical assault, whatever. So, like,
Anyway, that's heavy shit.
So she's trying to do this, like, we should come from a place until we know for sure it's not true. We should come from a place of assuming she probably happened. And Marvel should too. So it's really fucked up if they're not. Anyway,
especially okay. Last thing. Especially considering how relatively early they are in the process, and how they could so easily terminate his contract for like breach of like. I am positive there has to be a morality clause in there of some sort. Like
they already recast, like they recast Rhodey. Nobody said shit.
Right. Exactly. Like, especially if there's like a good reason to do it, and you recast the role, who fucking cares?
Or
like,
they recast Hulk, obviously, too, around the same time.
And it was totally fine. Totally fine. And they're so early in the process at this point, too.
We've seen Kang twice. We're going to have seen him 3 times because he'll be in Loki season 2. We saw Kang in one episode of Loki season 1, and we saw Kang in Quantumania. And we're going to see him one more time. Nobody, like, it's not like they've already done Kang Dynasty, and this is happening between Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. But, like, people
which they'll probably film at the same time anyway.
Yeah, probably. But like people, although maybe not because it's different directors. But anyway, people will get over it. Like this seems like a not putting aside this trial or this case rather. This seems like a not good person. So they probably should not, let him get away with that. Anyway, all right. Question. I haven't even answered the Marvel
talk
question.
About Secret Invasion. Well,
I haven't answered the Marvel question yet.
Okay, all right.
We got very sidetracked. So I think you're right, obviously, about everything you said. They've been spread too thin. That's a big one. Like, I haven't had as many issues as people have until Secret Invasion, which I freaking hated. But I think they're just spread too thin, and like, Feige's not as in control as he used to be because there's too much shit going on. I think the biggest thing actually is, and we were kind of hinting at this before, there hasn't been an Avengers movie in 4 years now, and it'll be at least 6 or 7 years before they're, between Avengers movies, which when they first announced they were doing it this way, I was like, great idea. Let's take a break from the Avengers. There was a real ending in Endgame, but in retrospect, it was a huge mistake because we had Shang-Chi come out in 2021. We haven't seen him one fucking time since then.
Mm-hmm.
It
feels like an eternity because of the sheer volume of stuff that's come out between now and then. It feels like it's been fucking forever since the movie came out.
We haven't seen. I mean, we're about to see Captain Marvel again in November. Other than briefly seeing her in Miss Marvel, we haven't seen her since 2019. We saw Doctor Strange in 21. When are we going to see Doctor Strange again? I have no fucking idea. When are we going to see Wanda again? She's probably alive. I have no idea when we're going to see Wanda again. We had, we're going to finally get the Black Widow characters back in Thunderbolts, but that movie came out in 21. We haven't seen them forever. The Eternals, they're probably hoping we just forget those exist, but we're going to at least see some of them again. The point is having the Avengers movies every 3 years in phase 3 made it, you always knew that you were going to see these characters that you cared about pretty often. Hold on. I'm pretty sure that Chris Evans appeared in a Marvel movie every year between First Avenger and Endgame. 2011, he was in First Avenger. 2012, he was in Avengers. 2013, he cameoed in Dark World. 14 was Winter Soldier. 15 was Ultron. 16, Civil War. 17, he cameoed in Homecoming. 18, Infinity War. 19, Endgame. He was in a movie every year from 2011 to 2019. And that's why people felt connected to Captain America. Do it with Iron Man. 2008, Iron Man. 2010, Iron Man 2.
Even
2012.
Even just the smaller connective tissues, like when they had Coulson showing up or Fury showing up, in every other movie for a while.
We hadn't seen Fury since 2019.
Yeah.
Until now. Which I didn't even realize, but I think that's true. I don't think we saw Fury. I don't think we'd seen Fury since 2019.
Did he show up briefly in he was in fucking oh no, he wasn't. No, I was thinking of well, actually, okay. I guess technically speaking, it was still 2019, but he came in Spider-Man.
Yeah, but that was
I was mixing that up with No Way Home for a second.
Yeah,
and then I was like, wait, no, that was Far From Home.
But actually, there's another good one. When are we going to see Spider-Man again?
Oh, that's who fucking knows? Because didn't they set the date already though?
No, it seemed like they were going to, but then they haven't actually yet. But the point is, we're not seeing these characters often enough. Just to quickly finish my point about Iron Man, the same thing. 2008, 2010, 2012, 2013 is an Iron Man 3. It wasn't anything in 2014. 2015, Ultron. 16, Civil War. 17, Homecoming. 18, Infinity War. 19, Endgame. That is every year from 2015 to 2019 and every other year before that. He's showing up all the time. Thor's pretty similar, honestly. Pretty much every other year you'd see Thor in a movie from when 11, 12, 13, 15, 17, 18, 19. You see these guys so many times. And now, again, we saw Shang-Chi, who was supposed to be a big Avenger, once in 2021. They haven't mentioned his name since then.
Yeah.
It's 2 years later, and we don't know when we're going to see him again.
Did he briefly make a cameo in another one of the shows or movies?
Nope, we haven't seen him. They haven't even said his name.
Yeah.
They haven't even said his name.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Which is
the strike. Simu Liu gave an interview where he said he's pretty sure the next time he's showing up is in Kang Dynasty because he thinks Shang-Chi 2 is coming out after Kang Dynasty. We don't know when Kang Dynasty is coming out.
Yeah. Well, and it's especially crazy because if you think about man, that's just so long to go in between. And I guess that's another shortcoming of this particular phase is that because they've now switched everything into the fantastical worlds and the multiverse and all that stuff, everything is happening in places that nobody else can even know exist,
right?
Except for the characters in the movies. So it's not even although they still, to this day, and I'm convinced that they're just going to multiverse write this off, they still have not referenced in any other movie other than a brief thing in She-Hulk, I think. The fucking the
Tiamat, the Eternal.
The Eternal popping out of the fucking
headline about the Eternal. We haven't. There are rumors that is a main part of the plot of Thunderbolts, but we don't know because they haven't even filmed Thunderbolts yet. So
and then it's just but Shang-Chi's whole thing happened in a world that only he was able to solve a fucking puzzle to find a way to get to. And so that's where his whole story happened. So there can't even be a reference. There used to always be the Shield references to oh yeah, remember what happened in the fucking desert? About Thor or whatever. You know what I mean? Just little Easter eggs that keep you oh, this is all connected.
That's the other thing. The post-credit scenes don't get resolved.
Yeah.
The Thor Love and Thunder post-credit scene was Hercules. When the fuck are we seeing Hercules again?
Not till the next Thor movie, which who knows when the fuck
that might never happen.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth fucking quit acting. He's probably going to come back and do the Avengers movies, but I don't know if we're getting the Thor 5. So, like, when are we going to see Hercules again? The Eternals post credits with Harry Styles as freaking Star Fox. Might never see him again. That was a total waste. They've followed up on every post credit scene from phases 1 to 3, except the one from Incredible Hulk with the leader. But that's coming back finally in Captain America: Brave New World. So, like, but meanwhile, so many of these things they don't follow up on. And the other thing is, this is my last point, then I'll move on to Secret Invasion. The other thing is, the multiverse is different in every fucking movie, which I know it's because of the multiverse. But, like, the multiverse in No Way Home was, oh, only Spider-Man villains come here. We don't see any of their universes. Just like Spider-Man villains and also their Spider-Man come here. Yeah. Okay. And then in Doctor Strange, it was all these other universes which are very similar to ours but slightly different. But then in Ant-Man, the multiverse was, well, the quantum realm. And then also, by the way, this technically started in Endgame because really the time traveling was kind of to different multiverses in a way. But that's, you know, just on the same timeline. And then Loki talks about the sacred timeline, which you can't get off of until they killed He Who Remains. And now that, you know, that broke off and you had access to that. It's just like so different. It's so different in every movie because, like, one hand is not, like, doesn't know what the other one's up to, it seems like.
Yeah, and then there's the issue too that there hasn't even been just these very simple, like they did in like Endgame, for example, the very simple explainer of like what are the rules? Like,
yeah,
what are the rules of the multiverse?
The problem is there aren't rules in the multiverse,
yeah.
Which I think they didn't really think about the fact that, like, that makes it feel like there are no stakes, which I kind of hated that argument, but on the other hand, I see the point.
Yeah, I'm starting to see it more. And there's also even just like even the small things that they can't even like bring themselves to rib themselves about. Yeah. Like, why do the Spider-Men all look different, but the Doctor Stranges all look the same?
But they have the same name. Yeah, they're all Peter Parkers, but they're different ages for some reason.
All Peter Parkers, but they're all different. I can understand the different ages, I guess, but like they're all clearly a different person.
Well, and here's the other issue with that. Like, the answer to everything is, oh, well, the multiverse. Because the answer to that is, oh, well, you know, if there's infinite universes, there's obviously a universe in which Peter Parker actually looks like Tobey Maguire.
Right.
But, like, that's fucking stupid.
But then there's also all these different things too, where it's like, okay, so but like all the Doctor Stranges that we've seen so far,
he goes to another Earth where he looks exactly the same.
He looks exactly the same, and all the people from his life look exactly the same.
Yeah,
and yet we're talking about also in fucking like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, he had a fucking like 90-year-old Aunt May, and a fucking ancient ass Uncle Ben, and you know, fucking Tom Holland has Marissa Tomei as his aunt.
So like you're looking at like, or even the Andrew Garfield one, same thing. Like Sally Field is like a 60-year-old Aunt May.
Yeah,
but like so the argument is, well, you know, it's just like a butterfly flapping its wings differently and things change. So like now Aunt May was born 30 years earlier and Peter was born 20 years. But like, again, that makes no fucking sense compared to the fact that, so the whole conceit in Doctor Strange is that Multiverse of Madness, obviously not the original Doctor Strange, is that America has no control over powers. So they're going to a random universe and they conveniently go to one where everyone looks the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Doctor Strange wore a blue cape instead. And also like Professor X exists.
Yeah, and well, and Professor X even looks the same,
right?
As he did in fucking X-Men
universe, because there's no Professor X in the normal universe.
And then so, and then eventually there's going to be inevitably a whole thing now too, where it's going to be like, okay, and then also Mr. Fantastic looks totally different,
right?
Because it's not going to be Krasinski again, because they clearly just did that as
that universe. Only Mr. Fantastic and Professor X are different than they are in this universe, because there's going to be a Professor X in this universe eventually too, but he's going to be a lot younger than Patrick Stewart. So. Like, what the fuck is happening here?
I don't know. It's there needs to just be like a explain it to me like I'm 5 moment at some point to tie all this shit together. And I don't know where
there's no way to do that. There's just no way to do that.
They've started digging their hole a little too deep at this point.
The answer to the multiverse is anything can happen, which means nothing interesting can happen. And I really didn't feel this way when they started doing this, but like in retrospect, they fucked up real bad.
The answer eventually. Well, so the first thing is they need to just kind of like cut this timeline down a little bit, of when they get to the next Avengers movie, and just kind of wrap this multiverse shit up quicker than they wanted to. Yeah. But then the other thing is the thing that'll bring this whole thing back, if it could be brought fully back to the level of where it was before is going to be Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is like the best fucking villain that they have, and they didn't have him at the time when they were planning this phase out.
Right.
And so like Doctor Doom and the fucking X-Men, like those are the two things that could bring this whole thing back.
Well, that's why I honestly, in retrospect, don't think the Fast and Fantastic Four should even be in this right now.
Yeah.
They should save them and put them, like they're saving the X-Men for Phase 7. They should probably save the Fantastic Four for Phase 7 too. They're not going to. They already announced that they have a director they're casting. Like they're not going to. But
yeah. But like Doctor Doom could be your villain for 10 years.
But
like,
he's not
that
like
fucking good.
But they're not going to make Doctor Doom the villain of the Fantastic Four movie because they can't. Because
like they need him to be the big bad,
but not kill him because they're definitely not going to kill him.
Well, so you can and can't. I mean, they did that with Loki, and then like had Loki be the villain of every fucking Thor movie.
But
and
the
then
problem is like they immediately resolve Loki by having him be an Avengers villain, and they brought him back to it. Like if the thing is Fantastic Four comes out, then the next movie that comes out is Kang Dynasty. Doom is not going to be the villain in Kang Dynasty.
No, and it's not like, and then you can't just conveniently like snap your fingers and be like, oh, he doesn't exist anymore.
Right. Yeah. And for like, so if they defeat him but don't kill him, he's just going to fuck off for 10 years. That doesn't make any sense.
Although it sort of does in its own little way because Dr. Doom is recluse and like he does
but
like go to his castle and like build his fucking big robot armies and all this shit.
I think he just can't quote unquote exist yet if they're going to do Secret Wars because like they're obviously not going to. I really don't think what they're going to do is have Dr. Doom kill Kang, you know, and then like take over and do Battle World. Like I don't think that's what's going to happen because that would then you're just getting rid of Dr. Doom in one Avengers movie, which is not what they're going to want to do. So he's not going to show up in this saga, which means he can't show up in Fantastic Four because then literally he is just fucking off for. I know he's a recluse, but like not enough so that if like he saw Kang like creating him like incursions and trying to take over the multiverse, he would not be like, wait, I can take over the multiverse instead. He would obviously do that. So So like he just has to not be around, which is stupid.
Yeah. Anyway, we're turning this into a whole other fucking podcast.
Yeah,
I'm gonna take my earbud out.
I will
do your Secret Invasion
thing very short, which shouldn't be too hard because it sucks so much. And then I'll just
Godspeed. I'll be back in a second. I'm gonna be sitting here with my earbud out, waiting for you to stop talking.
So the questions to remind everyone, because it's been a very long time since they were first asked, were number 1 by Zan Rosen, how bad was Secret Invasion? Number 2 by Jax365, which part of Secret Invasion made you the most angry? So how bad was it? It was the worst Marvel thing I've ever seen. And I'm like, not even being hyperbolic about that. My previous least favorite Marvel thing was probably Iron Man 2, maybe Thor 2. And Secret Invasion is like so far beyond. It was like insulting. The Rhodey scroll twist was ridiculous. We still don't know at the end of the show when he became a scroll. They seem to be implying, and the showrunner didn't tamp down the possibility that Rhodey became a scroll after Civil War, which would be so upsetting because if Rhodey became a scroll after Civil War, that means he didn't get to be there when Tony died, and also like had that very sweet moment with Nebula on Morag in 2014 in Endgame. But that was a scroll who said that about his legs. Like, what the fuck is that shit? Doesn't make any sense. So the other option is he became a scroll, I guess, like before Falcon and the Winter Soldier, in which case he had that very like interesting discussion about race with Sam, which is also super weird. And really, I say actually she. I mean, I don't know what pronouns the Rava the scroll goes by, but it seems to be a female coded scroll that is Rhodey. So like she had this discussion with Sam about race, which is weird. So like then did they do it after Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which means we haven't seen Rhodey as a scroll ever before Secret Invasion, so it would just be a waste. So that whole thing makes no sense. But the thing that made me most angry was the finale. I almost did not finish the finale because it was so stupid. I really couldn't even like handle it. I mean, the confrontation between Fury and Gravik that was supposed to be like the whole thing the season was building up to didn't happen because it was actually Gaia who, gravitated that whole speech to. So is Fury actually feeling those things that Gaia said? Probably not. I mean, what did he give her, like a speech to read from? I don't know. So the only half of that discussion was legitimate. And we actually just watched Gravik confess all of these feelings and frustrations to Gaia instead of Fury, who he thought he was talking to, which is very stupid. And then, Gaia and Gravik both get Super Scroll powers, which, by the way, she shoots what's basically a Kamehameha through his stomach, and the Extremist doesn't heal him, even though the Extremist healed her from an almost equally bad wound earlier in the show. So that doesn't make any sense. Feige, who I'm shocked was this stupid about this, said that he was the one who wanted the Super Scroll fight at the end, which, why did we need that? I just don't, why didn't they do a finale more like Loki, which wasn't action oriented at all? This show did not need to be like, this was a spy thriller. It didn't need to have like a punch fest right at the end. So I don't understand what they were doing. That whole finale made me so angry. And at the end, actually, here, another thing that really, really pissed me off is right at the end, then just dropping the Kree wanted to open peace talks with the Skrulls. So the whole fucking thing, the whole point of the show was a waste, because now Fury doesn't need to find the Skrulls a new planet anymore. I don't know. It was ridiculous. It was awful. And I'm just really disappointed because they made it really seemed like it was going to be very good and interesting. And I was excited for a show that was based on Nick Fury, but it really, really sucked. And honestly, a lot of the stuff I said earlier about Marvel, my opinion was heavily colored by how awful Secret Invasion was. And I'm just so frustrated by it and really, really worried about where things are going. So, anyway, that's the end of that. I'll see if Alex notices and starts talking again.
All right. Dude, I just so happened to hear. All right. Well, then I'm like, all right, that's it.
I was hoping you would hear me say that's the end of that. Like, I was like, so I hope I didn't spoil you, but
no, I only heard the one thing that I already knew.
I wasn't as worried about that because I knew you knew that. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, otherwise I'm good. I think I'm good. I avoided all
it sucks. I do not envy you having to go through it and watch.
Yeah, I will still watch it though. I'm looking forward to almost watching it like I do like Spider-Man 3 at this point. Like just that little hate watch. I already know it's gonna suck, so I can approach it that way. Anyway, all right. So before I answer the last wrestling question real quick, we did get asked what's the best and worst thing you've watched this summer. Do you have, obviously I feel like Secret Invasion, it was taken out of it.
Yeah.
But I feel like that was your worst thing. Do you have a
Secret Invasion, worst thing?
Do you have a favorite thing?
Best thing, answer the wrestling question. I'll think about it because I forgot to before.
Okay, so Knight of Cups wants to know, is the Montreal screw job a work? I'm quite frankly not old enough to have a real opinion on this, but I know what the Montreal screw job is. I'll explain it for you real quick, Matt, and for anyone that doesn't know what it is.
Very excited to hear about this.
So there was back in the 90s, there was the WWF, now WWE, and there was WCW. They were the two biggest wrestling promotions, and there was a legitimate competition between the two, like an actual ratings war and like real robust free agency between the two, where guys were jumping sides all the time, signing with one side or the other, and it was like creating like actual huge ripples in the industry. And so there was a guy named Bret Hart that was very famous, had worked for WWF for forever, like over 10 years, I think, and was the champion at the time, was like super over, like super like the crowd fucking loved him, everything else. And then there was Shawn Michaels, who it was also somewhat over with the crowd, although I think more of a heel at the time. Like he was, but was still a very good performer, very top of the craft, and was ready to sort of become the champion, but apparently was a huge fucking prick behind the scenes. Like he was just a huge asshole, and nobody liked him, including Bret Hart, who then WWF. So it becomes announced that Bret Hart is leaving WWF to go to WCW, but he's WWF champion. And so like they had to like the end of the year, I think, or something. And I think this whole thing happened at SummerSlam, which is in like August. But they had like until the end of the year to like get the title off of Bret. And they were like, well, we're going to do it, and it was at SummerSlam. Now I'm forgetting. I pulled up Montreal Screwjob and I literally forgot to even like look at what the fucking thing was here. It was Survivor Series, even better. So like literally there was Survivor Series is November. So there was only like a month until the end of the year. And they like had to get the title off in between now and then. And so Survivor Series was in Canada in Montreal, which is where Bret Hart is from. And so he was like, fuck you guys, like I'm not going to lose this title in front of like my home crowd, like to a guy that I fucking hate, like, and all this other shit. And apparently, allegedly, WWF and Vince McMahon had said, okay, fine, we'll agree to that, but you have to lose the title next month sometime, but we'll let you have this win or whatever. And so then there was a spot during the match where Shawn Michaels put Bret Hart in his signature submission hold, and Vince McMahon ran out and like said something to the ref, and then the ref goes, okay, call the match, and said that Bret Hart submitted. And so then Shawn Michaels became the champion, even though Bret Hart never did the wrestling thing of tapping out to say that he was submitting and would therefore lose the championship. And so like obviously all this shit's scripted and whatever, but like these things do mean stuff to like the guys that like the guys work for a really long time to reach the point of being like the face of a company or whatever. And so then, now there's all this talk still to this day, years later, of like, was that Vince McMahon legitimately screwing him over, or is that what's called a work, which is where if you're working in wrestling, you're trying to work the crowd and make them think that something is what it isn't. You're essentially acting. And the best ones, the best works in wrestling history are the ones where everybody always goes, fuck, was that real? Or was that like did some real life, like fucking tension and drama, like actually just spill into the fucking Fantasyland wrestling shit that we're watching? Or was this like for real? Or was this, or did real life drama spill in, or was this like all just fake? Based off everything I know about it, I think it was for real. I think that Vince McMahon is a piece of shit, and he absolutely did do that. And it fed the character of being a piece of shit that he became for the next like 20 years. And then of course we know that he's a real life piece of shit, thanks to all the terrible things that he did to women over the years and everything else. That has been conveniently swept under the rug now that he's grown a pencil mustache. But yeah, and sold his company for like a couple billion to fucking whatever company that owns UFC now. But yeah, I think that it was for real. I think that it was actually, I think that was a planned spot in the match where then Bret was going to get to the fucking side of the ring or whatever, which then breaks the hold, and then he was going to put Michaels in the hold, and then he was going to win the match or whatever. And I think that Vince McMahon came out and was like, yo, fuck you. I'm going to just call the match here and say that the ref said that you submitted or whatever. And even though obviously everything's on camera, but I don't know. Yeah, that's my answer. I think that it was indeed for real and not a work, to answer Knight of Cups question. Anyway, do you have anything that's been your favorite that you've watched that you had some time? I know you might have been totally enthralled with my story there.
I listened to 0 words of that. I think, okay, so I'm gonna give 2 answers. One is Hijack. Have you watched Hijack?
Nope.
It's on Apple TV. It's great.
TV show, movie?
TV show.
Okay.
It's great. Oh, I was thinking only a TV shows. I guess I could have said a movie. Anyway, Hijack is Idris Elba as a guy who's on a plane from I think it's Saudi Arabia to London, and the plane gets hijacked, and it's just like a very cool action thriller, and that's it. It's just like very simple and really fun to watch. So that's number one. The finale is coming out, I think, tomorrow, actually. And then the other thing I was going to say was Righteous Gemstones. Do you watch that?
Nope.
Oh, you got to watch Righteous Gemstones. Did you watch Eastbound and Down?
Nope.
Oh my God, Alex. Okay. Well, anyway, it's Danny McBride, and Righteous Gemstones this is the 3rd season that just ended on Sunday, and it's about a family that runs a mega church in South Carolina.
Oh, that sounds entertaining.
It's like Succession, but with a bunch of idiots who like run a mega church. It's really, really funny. Their dad is played by John Goodman, and he runs the church, but then the 3 kids are like competing to take over from him, but they're all just like total idiots. And I mean, the Succession kids were idiots too, but in a very different way. Obviously, like these people are actually idiots, and it's really really funny. So the third season just ended, and it's like possibly the best season. It just keeps getting better. I want to think of a movie now. You know what was really good? Past Lives. It's
I haven't seen that either.
it's like a romantic comedy basically, but it's about it was like probably a limited release. I don't even know if you could have seen it. I live in the big city, so I get all the movies.
Now I changed my vote from earlier. You're
Yeah,
the
I
most
know. I did that on
pretentious
purpose.
now.
But I hope James hears this, by the way. And here's that I'm answering Past Lives instead of Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which I'm not doing just for James because I thought of this on the spot since I didn't even think to answer with movies. But Past Lives is about a woman who grew up in South Korea but moved when she was like 10. And she had this like giant crush on this guy, and they were like, you know, in childhood dating. And she moves to Canada and then eventually New York, and they reconnect as adults. And it's just like a whole story about them reconnecting and like, will they end up together or not? But it's like it goes through their lives, and you know, as they're because they reconnect a few different times, and it's really very beautiful story. So I don't think it's in theaters anymore, but whenever it comes out video on demand, I would suggest everyone watch it because it's excellent, and I'm sure we'll win some Oscars.
Sounds adorable.
What did you pick, out of curiosity?
Well, I'm gonna add Guardians 3 now because I forgot to do that.
I mean, Guardians 3 was great. I loved it. But
that movie was fucking fantastic. But I have such a fucking goldfish memory that I felt like that was like.
I only thought of Guardians 3. I mean, that was beginning of May, so it wasn't really the summer. But
yeah,
I only thought of Guardians 3 because you mentioned James, and I was thinking of like what would James say?
Piss James off the most. Yeah. So I had said I literally recorded that part yesterday. I already forget what I fucking said. Jeez. I know it, but I know that's all stuff that I've watched like in the last like 2 weeks that have brought me joy. I did say Creed 3 because I also mentioned that over the course of the summer I've watched all 3 of those movies because I somehow had just never gotten around to them. And so I really fucking love the Creed movies. They were so good. And then I mentioned Alone, the TV show Alone. Have you ever watched that?
I think you mentioned this to me when we went to the Mets game.
I think I did actually. Yeah, dude. My wife and I have been fucking obsessed with it lately. Yeah. Like that's like all I've been watching at night.
But you did tell me about it.
It's really fucking cool, and also makes you just want to like go out and fucking test your mettle in the wilderness.
I'll never feel that way, but I respect that.
I do feel that way. I might be going on like a backpacking trip.
Oh damn!
In a couple months and doing that shit now. With some friends who know what they're doing more than me, but you know, whatever. Anywho, fucking, and then what I said. Oh, I forget if I mentioned this or not, but I definitely told it to Zach before the show. I somehow after 10 years I'd never watched it. I watched Wolf of Wall Street finally.
Oh damn, great movie.
That movie kicked ass. Yeah, it was very cool. Although I did say I think this has to have been. If I'm restating this, whatever, the people are 3 hours in this fucking podcast. So
somehow we did.
They probably forgot that I did this already anyway. But I was saying to Zach, I was like, it's really funny, and James would love this too. This is another good one for James. It's really funny that Martin Scorsese is the first one to like be like, fucking Marvel is ruining movies. All of them are the same, blah, blah, blah. This motherfucker makes 2 types of movies. He makes either the like Departed, Irishman, you know, whatever, that kind of like gritty, like mob drama or whatever, or he makes the self-narrated like asshole fucking movie like Goodfellas or fucking Wolf of Wall Street. Like Wolf of Wall Street may as well be a spiritual sequel to fucking Goodfellas, like the way that the storytelling was.
I mean, look, Scorsese, the different, not to defend this bullshit, but like, and you know, obviously, Scorsese is making obviously like very high level movies, even though they're all the same movie, so it's a little different.
Yeah, they're good. I mean, they're all really good, but they're all like they all tell the story the exact same way.
I think everyone kind of knows that about him, that he basically makes the same movie every time, and they just don't care. But,
right, but it wouldn't be annoying if he leaned into that, but instead he tries to play the artiste card all the fucking time, you know. It's like same thing with like James Cameron, who's like Marvel's ruining everything, and yet
that's ridiculous. He made fucking Avatar,
and yet let me shove this fucking CG bullshit Pocahontas reboot down your fucking
Way of Water, and I don't plan on it because I hadn't thought about Avatar the first one in like 10 years.
I literally have never seen it, and I never will.
Oh, it's not that good.
That's what I heard. That's why I'll never see it.
it's the 3D was cool, but like that's the. I mean,
that was the only selling
Yeah.
point. Now 3D like doesn't exist anymore because James Cameron hitched his fucking cart to a dying horse. Like,
Mhm.
and he's gonna keep trotting out that one 3D screen in existence for the next 5 years every time he releases one of those fucking Avatar movies, and like make us remember that 3D is a technology that exists in movie theaters, while everybody else leaves that shit behind.
Yeah, I know it's so stupid. Or like
Yeah.
3D TVs around that same time were like starting to be a big thing, and nobody wants 3D TV anymore.
I
Like,
had a 3D TV that I got only because it was a really cheap way to get a good TV.
oh yeah,
Like because it was on sale. I literally never used the 3D.
I mean,
function.
it's like who would do that? Nobody
No,
wants.
it was stupid.
They
And
really that was a miscalculation in the market.
Yeah.
Anyway, real quick, one more that I thought of because you mentioned movies, people that make all the same movie over and over again. Someone else who does that is Wes Anderson. But Asteroid City was very good.
Yeah, I heard that movie was cool. I do want to watch that at some point. Yeah.
And Barbie, which I just mentioned. I just saw Barbie the other day. Barbie was great. I still would pick Past Lives as the best movie I've watched this summer, but Barbie was great. Asteroid City was great. Guardians, excellent.
I'm looking forward to hopefully watching Barbie and Oppenheimer this weekend finally.
Yeah,
So,
I got it. I have to see Oppenheimer
Yeah.
very soon, and I'm excited to do that.
all right. Well, Jesus Christ, we went so fucking
How
long.
do we do this?
I don't know. There was a lot, dude. Our Marvel discussion just took like.
I know that took up a lot of time. Yeah,
We can't be asked about that after not talking about Marvel for like 2 years to give like a sweeping
well, I know
generalization.
the last time we talked about Marvel was Quantumania because we didn't do because Guardians came out during the playoffs, so we didn't do a Guardians recap.
Yeah, and we still haven't really. We just kind of talked about the overall shortcomings.
Really good. Yeah,
but bring it more to Guardians. If you're gonna tell individualized stories, at least make sure they're fucking knock it out.
Yeah,
of
the problem is done is done. But I am excited about Superman Legacy whenever that comes out.
You know what I really want to watch that I haven't watched yet? And I'm kind of just waiting for the first season to be over. That anime Superman.
Oh, I watched the first episode and didn't love it, but I know
I've heard it's pretty cool. My adventures with Superman.
I think it's just not hitting for me for some reason. But because everyone seems to love it, it didn't work for me. But
I just love it because it's the voice of Huey from
yes,
The Boys.
yeah. Oh my god, when the fuck is The Boys coming back?
I think it was supposed to come out by this fall.
Oh, awesome.
But I could be wrong, and maybe that's getting fucked by the fucking strike and everything now.
That sucks. Well, what sucks is that the studios are not ending the strike like they should by giving the actors and writers what they want.
Oh, absolutely. I'm not saying the strike itself.
No, I know you're not saying that, but I don't want anyone to think that's what we're saying.
Oh, no, absolutely not. The fucking studios should just pay people. The fucking assholes.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway. All right. Let's get the fuck out of here. Thanks for everybody for listening. This has been episode whatever of Knicks Mail.bag. We'll be back probably the next time you hear from us will be when we hopefully convene in person and do the Nolan ranking pod along with the special stipulation that we haven't revealed yet that we'll reveal at a later date.
I am very excited, except for the fact that Zach is gonna fuck it up.
Zach hilariously had it spelled out in plain English to him. It was like, how the fuck does this
okay, wait, actually, and I'll make this real quick, and I'm sorry, I'm not gonna explain the stipulation, but honestly, if you look around the internet, you might be able to figure it out. We're ranking a bunch of movies is what I'll say. Anyway, Alex, you saw my explanation of what we're going to be doing.
Yeah.
I thought I explained it very well.
Oh, it was very easy. It's very easy to get a grip of.
You got it. And Zach was like, I don't understand this. You're a moron. And I was like, I'm a moron?
That can't read a basic fucking ranking system and figure out how this shit works? Yeah. Anyway,
I'm very excited for that. I'm excited to see you guys in person for the Nolan ranking. And
that'll be fun.
It's gonna be fun.
And we'll figure out a way to film that and shit. Anyway, till then, thanks everybody for listening. If you made it this far, you're a fucking trooper. Yeah. Congrats. Till next time.
Marvel talk.
Yeah. Thank you all for listening, and we'll talk to you guys soonish.
Bye.